So you guys remember last June? I mean, it seems so long ago now. A night like last night was an absolute dream at this point last year. As I was watching mostly the College World Series, and Stanford brings in its ace and looks like it's in prime position to send Vanderbilt home, and it would be a year that was lost with two of the best college pitchers that we've ever seen, and then Vandy comes back. And Stanford loses on a wild pitch. And immediately after that, I switch over to the NBA game. Going down the stretch, and Trae Young and the Hawks went on the road to win game one of the Eastern Conference Final against the Bucks. And then I switch over to the hockey game. And that was overtime. And the Islanders go out of their old school arena, the Nassau Coliseum, with an overtime win to force a game 7 in that semifinal series in the NHL. Great night. I think while all this was going on, too, Shane Beamer was up as well, tweeting out welcome home and putting Gamecock fans in a bit of a frenzy, too, last night. Bill, I'm glad to see you survive all the excitement. What do you take away from what
Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, actually, I started the excitement a little bit earlier. Patrick, maybe you'll know this, or maybe you followed it a little bit. I got somehow invested yesterday afternoon in, is it the Euro Cup? Is this what I'm watching? I know This is not the halftime show, but the Euro Cup, Tim. It was.
What's happening?
I'll throw that at you.
Has happened?
I watched Ronaldo. That's probably the most I've ever watched. I watched the entire second half of Ronaldo and Portugal versus France, a 2-2 tie. It was actually a pretty good soccer match. And at the same time, Hungary, who I guess was the darling of whatever I don't know, division, whatever grouping that they were in, was taking on Germany. I was a foreigner watching soccer yesterday, but that was actually two really good soccer matches. I broke that up with going to get a pizza for the kids and I, and then came back and sat down. And you're right, last night I was fully invested in the hockey, but was flipping back and forth. I missed the wild pitch by Stanford as I had flipped back over to hockey. I missed the wild pitch, and so I flipped back over to see the celebration taking place by Vanderbilt. Twitter was aflame, I guess, with what Trae Young was doing. So I started to take more and more notice of what Trae Young and the Hawks were doing. Because I think the first time I flipped over, the Bucks were up at somewhere around the end of the first period, beginning of second. They were up about 34-23. And I was like, oh, the Bucks are 8-point favorites. They're going to roll tonight. And then Trae Young took over. And you're exactly right. I think it was Stanford blowing the game. It was Trae Young hitting 4 free throws down the stretch, and Milwaukee not being able to connect there at the very end on a 3-pointer. And then the Islanders in a wild scene. They'll get a game 7 Friday night. I don't know if I could be more excited about a sporting event. That was actually what I was discussing late last night. The fact that a game 7 on Friday night, Tampa and New York has been phenomenal in hockey. It's been physical. Last night, you got one dude getting hit with a puck in the mouth. You got one guy pushing, was it Stamkos? Patrick, you probably didn't get to see any of this, did you? I know you. Yeah.
No, I started too late. I was working.
They pushed Stamkos into the boards, and he's got a bloody bridge of the nose, and a brawl breaks out. The crowd is, in typical New York fashion, is chanting "Bleep you, Stamkos." That's coming through clear as day on the television. Tim, I don't know if you stayed up late enough to see the celebration by the Islanders fans who decided that
idiots.
Beers under the ice were what needed to cap off this thing.
That would be, you got to add, the players were on there too. Their own players.
Might be the last game ever in that Coliseum, one of the most storied barns in all of hockey.
That's what the guy says. So they go to the post game show, and he's like, "Well, if it's the last party there, don't you want to finish your beer? Don't you want to have?" Because they didn't go home.
It's donation.
They didn't go home. They were all standing there, like you said, enjoying it. So there will be a game 7 in hockey, which I think is one of the most thrilling. Is really one of the most thrilling things in sports because of the intensity, the speed. This thing has been as physical a series as as I've watched, which I don't know, I hadn't watched a ton of hockey, definitely not near what Patrick's watched growing up a Capitals fan, but it really was. You're right, Tim. Last night compared to a year ago, where I think at this time we were still only getting maybe NASCAR and golf, I believe, was all we had. Man, it really was an incredible sports night, especially for June 23rd, middle of the summer, where things do start to die off.
Yeah, because the bubbles stunk in comparison to this. Like, you talking about what we just saw in Long Island yesterday is not even comparable to what Tampa Bay running through the bubble and winning a Stanley Cup in an empty arena. Like, that stunk. And the ratings showed that too. I would think that the ratings on Friday are going to be really good and people are actually going to talk about hockey for once because it really is electric. I mean, the game prior, Tampa Bay wiped the floor with them 8-0, and then to come back and be down 2-0, basically 10-0 in the last 4 periods of action for the Islanders, and to come back and win that thing in OT. I mean, it's electric. I hope everyone is on board for Friday night.
It was a fun night all the way around, and it's interesting to me how people took it in. Like, you had to focus on one game or the other because of the timing of the thing, but then the way it worked out. Fortunately for me, because I was College World Series focused last night, that was the first one done, and then it just kind of cascaded from there. It kept going from there. I was keeping an eye on things on the ticker, and then was able to turn over and get the dramatic conclusions of all those things. I put out, I don't know about you, but it hit me last night. Trae Young becomes the second youngest to score 48 points or more in the NBA playoffs, just a few days behind Kobe Bryant's, I think, NBA record. To me, Trae Young is equal parts John Stockton and Allen Iverson after watching him last night. I was trying to figure out the best comparison, and I don't know if we've seen anybody quite like him. What do you think of the analogy there, Bill? Would you agree, disagree? Or do you have a better comparison in mind to who Trae Young is? Because this thing, we haven't talked about him, especially compared to Ben Simmons in that previous series, and how he's just has the exact opposite mindset from being aggressive, and clearly the pressure is not a problem, and he steps up in the moment, and then last night takes it to another level. He scored or assisted on 80 of their points. 80. Ridiculous.
He to me, I thought about this last night. I saw your tweet, and then it kind of got me thinking there after the game. But they were doing the little shot chart. They were showing some of the highlights. I mean, to me, he's the next Steph Curry. I mean, it's hard to believe. Curry's now, I think, 33, 32, 33. I'm not saying that Curry's career is over, but Trae Young's a young kid. Like, Trae Young's 22. What did you just say, 21?
22, you're right.
Yeah. Okay. So, 22. So, I mean, you got a lot of that. But the way he plays, getting to the rim, there's a little bit of flair to him. The off the backboard alley-oop to John Collins last night. There was the crossover. Who was it? It was Drew Holiday was guarding him. And I could see that now, as you mentioned, Iverson, but the crossover to go back to his right, and then all the Bucks just stand there and watch, and Young kind of waits for, I think it was Chris Middleton, to charge at him before he pops the three and sticks it. I mean, it's a brand.
Was that when he gave the shimmy or no on that?
I can't remember that was when he gave the shimmy
or
not. Yeah, I can't, but I think it was because he crossed up. Poor Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday went right. Well, Drew Holiday went to his right. Trae Young went to his right. If you're facing me and you go to your right and I go to my right, that ends up not being a good combination because you're going the opposite direction of me, and Trae Young buries the three. He's exciting to watch. It actually had me thinking back to our conversation yesterday about guys that you would go watch, pay money to go watch. And I got to admit, I'm not sure I'd throw down a whole bunch of money to go see Trae Young now, but he went darn near the top of that list last night with the way he played. The way he's – the Hawks are a fun team to watch. They've done a good job assembling that thing, and they're making a great run. It'll be interesting to see if they can add a piece or two, because I'm not sure they're ready to win an NBA championship just yet. But Trae Young is a fun player to see.
No doubt about it. And just as you're talking about it, I was going to put somewhere like that in Steph Curry. But to me, Steph Curry was always a shooting guard that learned how to play it. And Trae Young is a pure point guard in every single way. Like you just want the ball in his hands. He wants the ball in his hands. He makes his team better, but he's going to score a bunch of points too. And that's where the Iverson and the fearlessness comes in. Patrick, what do you think? No, you didn't get to see John Stockton play back in the day. I guess you probably didn't get to see much of Allen Iverson either. Have you ever seen a player quite like Trae Young?
I kind of like. I mean, everyone has compared him to Steph just because of his range. Like he's undersized and he's got unlimited range. But yeah, Steph is honestly a fearless player, and I was trying to think of how to describe or differentiate him from Steph. It's almost like he's more like there's more chaotic energy to his game because he just seems to be going at 100 miles an hour all the time, and he really doesn't back down from anybody either. I mean, he'll body up Giannis if he's backing him down. He legitimately does not care, which is really fun to watch. Like I think guys would just love to be around him. And I mean, yeah, Bill, I would agree generally with they might need another piece. I don't know if they're ready to win a championship right now, but they just took game one in the Eastern Conference Finals. Like they are on the verge right now. And I would have probably said the same thing about the Suns coming out of the bubble last year because that's when this whole thing started. They were incredible in the bubble. And I would have said, all right, well, maybe get one more piece and they'll be ready to go. And I guess Chris Paul's that piece, but they've been playing well without him. I don't know. Like the Hawks, they're also so young. Like they're carried by all guys that are certainly under 25, maybe under even 23. I mean, Trae Young's 21 years old, 20 years old. I don't even know. He's been in the league for 3 years. And that draft class, too, looking back at it now with DeAndre Ayton hitting the alley-oop winner 2 nights ago, Trae Young going for 48 last night. The narrative since that draft has been all these morons passed on Luka. And, I mean, you'd still say Luka's the best of that bunch, but Trae Young and DeAndre Ayton are both going to be superstars in this league in 5 or so years. Whenever the LeBron KD generation is done, those 3 guys are all going to be leading the pack of the next generation of like the true superstars of basketball. Pretty cool to see.
Yeah, Trae Young, 22 years old, 277 days, and Kobe Bryant was 2 weeks younger than that when he scored 48. I think in the NBA playoffs, the 2 youngest guys to have done it. I think the only other guy to do it before he was 23 was LeBron James as well. And then 20 points, 7 assists in all of his first 13 playoff games. Nobody's ever done that one with more than 11 games in a row in NBA history. Anthony hits us up on let's see, what is Anthony listening on this morning? He's on the YouTube live stream. The scary part is Trae Young's having fun while he's still learning. And Bill, that goes into that part of the conversation we were talking about yesterday. Like, who do you pay to see? Who would you go to see? And that's part of it, right? It's not just the production. It's not just what happens in the box score. It's how you do it. Do you do it with a smile on your face? Do you do it with some flair? Do you do it with excitement? That chaotic energy you mentioned, Patrick, is part of it for sure. That's why I mentioned Iverson in the comparison there. I always thought that Iverson was just on the verge of being out of control and yet somehow could keep it under wraps and a fierce competitor and the whole thing. That's part of who Trae Young is, part of the appeal for me, Bill, watching him play.
I think some of it's the physical appeal of seeing a guy, because Trae Young is not the biggest guy in the world. Like there was an element of LeBron James is what 6'7", 260, and you see a guy who is built like that, physically able to do some of the things that he's able to do. It's I think there's nobody built like LeBron James, right? So there's a freakish attraction to go into a game and seeing him in person and seeing the physical size. I've always talked about it. One that just completely blew me away was, I think, 2004, 2005, somewhere around there. I went to the Masters, and the physical size of Ernie Els, like actually being able to stand there next to him. I think 2 years ago when we were actually able to go to SEC Media Day and do stuff, I remember telling you, like, not that I was about to like check him into the wall or anything like a hockey player, but I was interested to see the physical stature of Tua Tagovailoa because of what you see on television. And so Trae Young is not a monstrous guy. What is he listed at weight wise? Do you have his
180.
actual 180?
6'1", 180.
Like that's not compared to today's NBA monsters that you see that are doing freakishly huge things. He's on the smaller side. I think that's at times what made Steph Curry.
Tiny.
Yeah, that's what
He's
made
more
Steph.
than on the smaller side. He's as small as it gets in the NBA today.
Yeah, it's true, but I also come from an era where Muggsy Bogues was running around doing
there's
things.
none of
And
those.
Spud Webb was winning a dunk competition. I get it, but
I mean, Nate Robinson is there's no
Yeah.
there's no Nate Robinsons in the league anymore.
right. And that's my point. Is
Steph Curry's 6'3", and he's small. He's really small.
Right. And so it's fun to watch a guy that size go in and absolutely own and control the game.
Well, this goes to the conversation yesterday. I want to point out, I forget which caller it was. Was talking. I think it was Scott that called us up. Was talking about how he went to go see John Stockton back in the day, and then Steve Nash, because it reminded him of him trying to be on the court and play. And I feel like we all do this to some extent, right? We can identify with someone else who looks a little bit like us. Bill, you were always a little bit undersized in your basketball career, so I think Trae Young specifically there. Me, I was always on the skinnier side, and Trae Young seems to be, just frame-wise, seems to be kind of thin, but he never plays weak at all. It's like Dennis Rodman always played like he was 7 foot tall when he was 6'6", 6'7". Charles Barkley at 6'4", always played like a monster. So I feel like we either really identify and latch on to people who look like us, or we go the opposite, like that LeBron James or Shaq, right? We latch on to people that are completely physically different than us and marvel at that as well. And from the Trae Young standpoint, man, he almost looks like the little brother out there to a certain extent, from just a physically developed standpoint. It looks like the cocky little brother that is just running circles around people. That's how it looked last night.
And it's been awesome because from the first game, they've tried to rattle him, like the fans, the Trae is balding chants and all that stuff. Like it was like Reggie Miller to Spike Lee-esque what he did he completely embarrassed the New York Knicks fan base. And that was the first week of the playoffs. Everyone couldn't stop talking about how great is it to have playoff basketball back in the Garden. And Trae Young was the star of that series, and it's just continued on. So like he is the little brother, and people have tried to pick on him, but he just has gotten better and more confident as it's going on. I never thought he was going to be this good. I mean, he was at Oklahoma, he would have crazy games where he would put up 40 and hit half-court shots or shots from the logo or whatever, but then he'd also go cold for long stretches of time, and they would look terrible because Trae Young was putting up 20 shots and he would score 8 points or whatever. So I didn't think he had this necessarily in him. I thought he had it for spurts, but he's been so consistent. You said 20 and 7 in every single game. That's unbelievable, and that's not what I saw coming for him at all.
And to do it for the first time in the playoffs, his first playoff run now, and again, the comparison with a guy like Ben Simmons, I feel like not stepping up in these moments, especially the first time, is more the rule as opposed to just completely dominating right now. Richard hits us up on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, 803-404-6100. If you guys have been watching the entire playoffs, this is scary because the Hawks are gradually getting more confident and fearless. I think they've got a pretty good chance to make the NBA Finals because they've got really good pieces around Trae Young, Lou Williams, Clint Capella, Danilo Gallinari, John Collins. These guys look like they can win against anyone. They're never out of a game. And I think we have to look at the ability to win an NBA championship a little bit differently this year, because there is no dominant team there. There is no experienced team that's done it before, been there, done that with what you got in the West and the Clippers and the Suns, and what you saw last night in the East with the Bucks. I mean, they got a great look down 3, right? Pat Connaughton wide open, air ball, and then even at the buzzer to tie it down 3, Chris Middleton ends up 0 for 9 from 3 in the game. I definitely wouldn't put my money that the Hawks are just going to cruise through this series right now. I think the Bucks have a lot.
The Bucks were heavily favored. I mean, they got lucky. And the other thing about this playoff series is, I mean, the Suns, if they just cruise past LA, it's not going to have an asterisk because we don't really do that. But no Kawhi changes everything for that team. And the same thing on the East, like Brooklyn looked like they were just going to roll past everyone and just steamroll the entire NBA. And Kyrie and Harden both go down, and Harden was clearly not himself to close out that Bucks series. So I don't know how we look at this going into next year, but I mean, this is an opportunity for a Hawks team or a Bucks team that might not have been good enough the way we looked at it before the season, but you have to take advantage of it now. I mean, and it looks like it's literally anyone's game. I think the only team that I would say is not winning the championship right now, I would confidently say is the Clippers.
Yeah, I don't think I give the Hawks enough credit because they were 41-31 in the regular season. I don't want to say they've come out of nowhere, but that's essentially kind of what they have done. And you almost, I kind of still get stuck in that kind of 80s, 90s mindset of NBA playoffs where you need to lose a few years in a row and kind of earn your right. I think I can't remember if it was the Bad Boys documentary or the Chicago Bulls documentary where basically they said, like, you know, they were upset. They were talking about kind of the torch being passed though, but how the Celtics walked off the floor, I believe, against the Pistons when the Pistons finally got over the hurdle of beating the Celtics there in the late 80s. And then obviously the Pistons storming off the floor when the Bulls finally beat them in the early 90s, and kind of that torch being passed from great team to great team. And now you've got a team like Atlanta just kind of coming out of nowhere. And I'm with what Richard says. He's exactly right about that. That's a great point about this team getting more confident as they're going along. They're winning these series, they're winning these games, and now Trae Young is, I think, fulfilling his potential as being a superstar. And it is kind of fun to watch. Last night was the most I've got. I didn't watch quite as much maybe as some people did when it comes to the entire game, but certainly a lot of fun to watch down the stretch.
On the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, G, Young is going to be a beast for years to come. He has all the tools. He's selling the calls. He's a free throw machine. And Bill, I'm with you about that mindset, but the Toronto Raptors with Kawhi Leonard a couple of years ago kind of blew that one out of the water for me. Not having to kind of chip away, and then figure it out.
Similar, though, with KD going down in the finals, tearing his Achilles.
Right. Yeah. Still, NBA champions nonetheless. We'll certainly keep our eye on how things continue to shake out in the NBA playoffs. Good to see that they are becoming much more interesting than they started. Also, great to see interesting hockey with overtime and the Islanders in the Game 7 with the Lightning. College World Series last night, fantastic. And we'll see if Bill can give us some insight into what Shane Beamer was tweeting about late last night. That when we come back, 803-404-6100. If you would like to join, we're up and rolling on the video stream as well. Facebook, YouTube, live on Twitter. The station handle is at 107 The Game. You're listening to the early game.
Clear.
Almost done with the month of June. Kind of crazy that we're moving through now, June 24th. About time to bank another payment on that old mortgage. But are you making sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck? If you looked at how much equity you have in your house, maybe what your interest rate is, if you checked out that mortgage statement lately, time to do it. Give it a quick glance and then call the Mortgage Guru team of Jacob Crowder and Brian Kovar to speak with them about how you might be able to refinance and save some money. You never know what exactly you're capable of doing until you find out. So at least a phone call over to describe your situation, talk a little bit about what you might be approved for, the interest rate you could get back, maybe even some money to pay off a debit card or credit card, and to have a better financial situation. Give Jacob Crowder and Brian Kovar a call today, 803-719-1005. You can email Jacob, the letter J, Crowder, CROWDER at firstpalmetto.com. Again, they've been helping people throughout the Midlands. That's why they've teamed up to make sure they can get to everybody. And you don't want to miss a golden chance to right now to maybe improve your financial situation. They're telling everybody don't get caught watching the paint dry. Apparently, Kovar watching a little bit too much Hoosiers growing up and still using that one today. Go ahead and give them a phone call, 803-719-1005. Again, check out that mortgage statement and give them a call today. See what they're capable of doing for you. It's Jacob Crowder, it's Brian Kovar, the Mortgage Guru team at First Palmetto Bank. All righty. Oh boy. Yeah, I did. I got into a little bit of the soccer yesterday. I say I got into it. I watched it, but a little bit of a trip down soccer lane. That was probably the most I've ever watched Ronaldo. I don't know what I was expecting, but I guess I was expecting a never to make a mistake, and he did make a few mistakes. And then I was like, oh, he's kind of human. Let's see what the weather is for today. Oh, good.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with Recruiter. It's powerful technology. Job. So you got a lot of help. It finds you a needle in a haystack. See why four of the top employers who post the job on ZipRecruiter are quality candidates who works there. Try ZipRecruiter.com/ZipRecruiter.com/.
Oh yeah, I saw on Twitter last night, Tim, that apparently the Vandy Whistler in the game. Were you able to identify which Vandy Whistler was able to get near a microphone or could be heard?
I definitely heard, I heard the series of 3 whistles. Which
Nobody. I don't know if anybody knew that. People just kept texting or tweeting that the Vandy Whistler was on the loose.
Oh yeah. One of those things that if somebody points it out, then you can't stop hearing it.
This is true. Yeah.
When you sponsor a job here, showcase the quality candidates. Resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsor card.
There's a pretty interesting tweet at 5:40. Text at 5:49 this morning.
Yeah, I don't feel like that guy hit the snooze button.
Right.
4:59.
My bad. 4:59. You're right.
I appreciate the input, but when I wake up, I don't care if you're getting up to go to work at that time. I feel like if that is your thought process is to let me get up and tweet the radio show.
I love it.
We need to get another thought process going for you.
No, it's the best way to start the day for sure.
All right. Big golf trip to the Patriot at Grand Harbor in '96 today.
Nice.
See how that goes. Patrick, do the Islanders, they did this last night. The girl started singing the national anthem and quit like a quarter of the way through, and the fans sang it, and then she picked up on the last bit.
Yeah.
Is that a normal thing? That's a normal thing?
No, it started in the closeout game against Boston, and they just rolled Boston, and they ended up just singing for the last 5 minutes of the third period, and it was like a ridiculously awesome environment. So I think they've just, for big games, that's their new thing.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I gotta admit, I just wasn't sure because all of a sudden her sound went out, and I think you just pick up the crowd singing, and then she popped back in there. You know, I don't remember exactly when, but I'd say it was the last third. She sang the first third, they sang the second third, and she sang the last third with them.
Yeah, they're a crazy fan base. I mean, that is their Long Islanders are very proud of being from Long Island, particularly, not just New York. So, and there's like 7 million people on Long Island, I think.
Tim, do you know how to pronounce this young man's last name? Emorie?
Sounds right.
Committed last night from Irma.
Did you see Jay Williams' Twitter gaff yesterday?
Oh no.
The Celtics hired a new coach, and Jay Williams tweeted, "This is amazing, the first coach of color in Celtics history." And they've had 6. Doc Rivers won a championship with them recently, and then he tweeted out, "The tweet that was sent from my phone was not my own. Like, the password has been changed and something else." It was like,
oh, I did see something about that.
He just completely blamed someone else for tweeting exactly like he tweets all the time, like the same cadence and symbols and everything like that. And it was just like, dude, what? Just say that you were wrong. Like, sorry, I got excited. Didn't realize. Bizarre move. All right.
Up early yesterday on Fox and Friends with the used to be walk-on wide receiver Trey Atkins telling the story about being a scholarship guy. Then all over social media yesterday with Calvin Johnson at the football facility. I guess Calvin Johnson now is going to be in the Hall of Fame, and the guy who's going to introduce him is the new executive director of character and player development for South Carolina football in Derek Moore. And so Demo's relationship with one of the best ever had Megatron just all over the South Carolina facilities yesterday. And then Shane Beamer also last night at 10:20, I think put out the tweet, or actually put out the tweet saying that he loves it at 10:20 at night when his phone starts ringing and someone else wants to join us. We hit up the old welcome home hashtag there. Bill, can you connect the dots for us on that one?
You talking about the first one or the second one?
The welcome home at 10:20 last night.
Yeah, that one. Well,
First one earlier in the day.
yes, apparently.
18 hours ago. Let's do the math. So that was noon-ish yesterday.
I didn't see the first. Technically, I didn't see the first welcome home tweet. Chris Clark and Hale McGranahan both with Big Spur and with Gamecock Central both posting yesterday afternoon that there has been a welcome home or a commitment that occurred yesterday afternoon, but that the prospect is waiting for a specific date to announce, and both Chris Clark and Hale McGranahan being very specific that it would not be this month, to which I was like, oh, okay, then. I don't know if that's a commitment or not, but all right.
So that's what we're doing these days. Now that's where we're going with this thing.
So yeah, there was that, but according to Hale McGranahan, the second one last night. Now I haven't seen this, confirmed anywhere, or I haven't seen the player put out. Most players will put out some kind of edit or something of that nature to confirm it. But Hale McGranahan saying it's the young man from Irmo, 6'3", 208 pounds, listed as an athlete. Nick, can you pronounce this last name? I stink at regular names. Johnson is difficult enough. Can you pronounce his last name? Tim?
And Morier sounds good to me. We'll go with that right now.
Okay. Yeah, I believe, and maybe somebody out there who is more familiar with him or knows him can text in or call in how to phonetically spell that thing out or pronounce it. But 6'3", 208 pounds is the guy that Hale McGranahan with the Big Spur is reporting committed to Shane Beamer late last night around 10:20 for the Gamecocks. So we'll see if that is indeed something that he puts out on Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat or I don't know, Patrick, whatever they have, InstaFace these days, and goes like, I've never felt older than I have talking to some people about this stuff lately. But
do kids ever not announce that they're committing? Like just call the coach and say, "Hey, coach, I'm coming," and then just not put anything out on social media, and no one knows who they are until like signing day. Has that ever happened?
The only one that I can remember that, I mean, it was again the kind of the new world we live in, I guess, but was Muschamp. What, several years ago, Javon Gwynn committing to South Carolina, and I remember watching Muschamp's press conference on my computer, and he's going through in the middle of December. He's going through all the commit list, and Javon Gwynn is started some games for South Carolina. Is expected to compete for a starting position again this year, and Will Muschamp, no air. Everybody thought it was down to the NC State and South Carolina. Everybody thought Javon Gwynn would just end up waiting till the spring. Will Muschamp's reading off the commitments that he has received and signed for the class, and all of a sudden he reads Javon Gwynn, and I was like, "Well, wait a minute! Nobody announced that. Did he just commit a recruiting mishap? You know, like by saying a kid's name, and it turned out the kid had committed, sending his paperwork, and nobody knew
that." Like a kid who just doesn't do social media, maybe he's a little shy, doesn't feel like getting all the attention, and just calls the coach and says, "Hey, coach, I'm coming. Let me know when to sign the papers," and that's all. I would love
Let's get more of that.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's get more of that. Gwynn, one of the 5 guys on preseason all SEC list, I think from Phil Steele out in his preseason publication, I believe was maybe a 4-team all SEC selection from
How many
Phil.
teams did he put out there?
I think 4, I think is what he does. A little bit more than others with that preseason pub.
Kevin Harris, Kingsley Enagbare, Gwynn, Pickens, Birch.
Not Birch, but Pickens, correct.
Wanham?
Nope. My only offensive lineman was Javon Gwynn. You guys are leaving out an obvious one here that you overlooked.
Parker White.
Nope. Everybody's yelling off the radio.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me play
Kevin Harris and Enagbare,
Mm-hmm.
Pickens, and Gwynn.
Mm-hmm. One more.
That's obvious.
Nick Muse.
Yeah.
Good call.
That's Nick Muse. Was
Just because last year wasn't his best year, but I can see that based on the previous year. He was having a good season until the ACL tear against Vanderbilt. And I'll be interested to see him in this offense after a year of being able to get fully healthy and rehab that knee and feel comfortable with it.
So wait a second, Bill. And then Will hits us up on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, that first welcome home tweet that Shane Beamer put out yesterday about noon. Will announce July 5th. Will lets us know. Make it public, I guess. July 5th is what he's saying. But what about the prospect there, Iman Wari? What position is he supposed to play for the Gamecocks or in college football? 6'3",
210 already, kind of projecting him is what they're saying is more of the kind of the hybrid spur position, the big nickel. And it was I always compared it. I think Rashad Faison was a guy who was really good at it. Antonio Allen was a guy that South kind of transitioned into that position, kind of the hybrid nickel linebacker spot for Clayton White, who's going to run that 4-2-5 defense. So you've got that kind of 5th defensive back that you'd like maybe to be able to line up and guard a receiver or a tight end, but also be able to maybe play down in the box as a linebacker. So it seems like he's destined to play that position. We'll just see how big he gets over time once he enters a strength and conditioning program. 6'3", 210 is already a pretty good sized kid. So we'll see. Again, I'm glancing at his Twitter page. I don't see anything where he's officially announced it quite yet either. So we'll continue to track that. But Hale McGranahan with the Big Spur last night, putting out there that is his decision, or that is the second welcome home from 10:20 late last night.
Devontae Holloman in that mold as well, or was he just a little bit too big to put in that mold for you?
No, you're probably right. I think he started as a safety and then kind of ended up sliding down more into the linebacker hybrid role. So yeah, I think that's probably another good one to use as an example of a kid who, not necessarily a little bit bigger, more physical, able to handle that contact.
RL says, I just assume some recruits wait to announce their commitment until they can make their videos or schedule the locations where they can make their announcements with their families. I got it. That makes sense. But then also, why don't you wait to tell the coach? Or is that just where we're getting? Shea Beamer is so plugged in right now and wants to keep some momentum going. Hey, you go ahead and let me know whenever you're ready. And then you can take your time and then put it out publicly. 21st century, man. 2021 college football recruiting is where we're at for sure with all of that. The hashtag welcome homes. 2 of them out yesterday. One of them seems to be a little bit more mysterious than the other. But that's college football recruiting right now. 803-404-6100. If you would like to join, I guess the Gamecocks technically have 7 verbal commitments out there. You would add these 2 and make it 9 more, but we know 7 of them, and 2 more to be continued, I guess, after what we saw yesterday on a great day for sports. Ways, College World Series, awfully dramatic. NBA playoffs, huge night for Trae Young and the Hawks, and then the NHL playoffs as well, going to overtime, and the Islanders going nuts in overtime win against the Lightning, forcing Game 7 as well. Great night of sports to discuss with you. Thanks for being part of the show. It's the early game. It's 107.5 The Game.
Summer vacations are upon us. You need a reliable vehicle, most likely, to get you where you want to go, whether it's the beaches, maybe you're trying to get to the mountains, maybe you're taking a little trip, an educational trip somewhere. You want to take the kids, have them actually learn something like an aquarium. You need a reliable car or truck to get you there. Love Chevrolet's got you covered in that area. If you've been looking for a car or truck, no reason to visit anywhere else. Largest selection of vehicles anywhere here in the Midlands, 14 acres to be exact, of brand new vehicles and a fantastic pre-owned certified lot as well. So whether you're looking for pre-owned or you're looking for new, the selection at Love Chevrolet, unbeatable. The best deal in town. They're willing to let you go to other dealerships, find their deal, bring it back to the folks at Love Chevrolet, and they'll top it. They call it the $1,000 low price guarantee. If they're not able to top it, they'll write you a check for $1,000. And finally, an incredible sales staff. I always deal with Josh Putnell out there. Fantastic. If I ever have any issues, if I have questions, he is right there ready to text me back, help me with anything. But more importantly, when you go to make your purchase, they're going to make you feel confident with what you're buying and make sure that you understand how it'll help you with your everyday commute, not just those great vacations you're out there taking. So whether it's largest selection, lowest price guaranteed, or an incredible sales staff, the folks at Love Chevrolet simply can't be beat. That's why they've once again won the 2020 Mark of Excellence Award, given out to Chevrolet dealerships throughout the country that are at peak performance. Go visit them for yourself. I-26 in Harbison, between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads. Oh,
So how'd you get into soccer yesterday? That's my question.
I don't know. I came home kind of early, about 3:30, and I was pretty tired. And I just flipped on the television, and I was kind of flipping around to a couple other things, and I just settled into watching. I just finally decided I wanted to watch Ronaldo. I never really watched him, so I was like, "Oh, Portugal, France," and it was kind of a back and forth game. Like, I think when I picked it up, Ronaldo was getting his first penalty kick, and he put it in the back of the net. And I think that was about midway through the first half, and I just kind of ended up sticking with that, laying on the couch and eating some Cheetos, a very healthy lifestyle, of course, and just watching that. And then the game went to the second half, and it stayed close and was pretty good environment there too. I get kind of caught up watching. I guess because it's Europe. Because I guess maybe the crowd for Portugal, France was really honestly not much different than Islanders Lightning last night. Like just watching the crowd at a soccer game, shirtless and just appears to be losing their mind at every little thing.
Yeah.
Sure. It just kind of kept me entertained.
Portugal plays Belgium, who's a great team on Sunday, and that'll be a fun game.
I may actually watch some of England. I know I don't just brand name teams. England and Germany play each other like Monday or something.
Tuesday at noon.
Huh?
Tuesday at noon.
Tuesday at noon. Yeah, I was looking at a little bit of the schedule. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I might pick up watching some of that in the afternoons. Just to, I can't tell you that I'll be all that invested in it, but maybe it'll be something to have on around the house or at the office in the afternoon.
And getting lit up on Twitter by Chris, just all about Colombia and Brazil yesterday in the Copa America again. But I can't do soccer. Too much.
Well, our tournament starts next month, I think.
Our tournament?
Every federation has a tournament. So the Euros is obviously Europe. The Africa Nations Cup is the African teams. The Copa America is South America, and then we play in the Gold Cup, CONCACAF. Central, the Confederation of North Central America and the Caribbean Association of Football. It's CONCACAF.
Impressive. That just rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah, and now you got me looking that up. Like, who all is involved in that? CONCACAF?
Central North America and the Caribbean.
Why did they disguise the name?
Apparently Mexico wins this thing all the time.
Yeah, it's up in Mexico. We're the best. Hey, Joe.
How about this? 4:59 this morning. Anonymous texter who just actually identifies himself as Old Man Rivers. Potential interesting thought of the day on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. I always love that preface. But not always is it followed by what I consider to be an actual interesting thought. This one, is there a button you can push in life that is more awesome than the snooze button? And no, it's not the start button on the microwave in which you're cooking bacon. Well done, Old Man Rivers. Clearly, he gets the show. But at 4:59 this morning, how many times could you have possibly pressed the snooze button? Bill, I think that was your point when you read it the first time, right? That was your take. Mine as well. It's confused. I figured someone who might hit us up in the 8 o'clock hour would be a pro snooze person as opposed to 4:59 a.m. texter.
I think we've had this conversation a little before. I think Patrick's mentioned it. How many alarms do you have to have set to go off to wake up? I've got 2. I've got the radio alarm next to the bed and the phone alarm that's the backup alarm 2 minutes later.
Patrick, where are you at on that number-wise?
3. I've got the phone is first 10 minutes before I need to wake up, and then I've got the Google Home 5 minutes before I need to wake up, and the last possible minute I can sleep into, I have an old 1940s alarm clock with an obnoxious beep.
That's just emergency code red.
I hope to never have.
Fantastic. I don't know what other button there would be out there. Maybe the air conditioning button in the car. Yeah, that's always a really good one, right? If you're really hot hopping in the car, just one button I was thinking about. Looks like we got 2 more hours to discuss here on the early game.
Yeah, clear.
Oh boy.
Patrick, you see that message that popped in your private chat about
Yeah, I put it in the last break. Did it matter there?
I did not think it.
So Alicia Gray, 3-on-3. Is that what it's
Yeah.
called?
Saw that. Because it's a 4-person team. One of the 4.
I guess I forgot that was in the Olympics.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was a separate event either. I'm trying to think of other sports that are like that. Are there?
Versions?
I mean, you got like swimming and diving,
What you talking about?
track and field.
Did you read the article on ESPN about the basketball tournament? And does anybody know why South Carolina doesn't put one team in there? I guess is it like a sponsored deal or an alumni thing? I don't.
It definitely costs money to get in there, right?
I have no idea what exactly. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I was looking at some of the teams. Like Ohio State seemed like loaded, like with really good players that just didn't make it to the NBA. I guess that's the thing; they can't be in the NBA past.
There's former NBA players all over the place in that tournament.
Right.
I know that Ohio State's alumni team is good. Notre Dame's alumni team is good. I think Ohio State was like Greg Oden, Aaron Kraft, Jared Sullinger. I think like all those guys were on their team last time.
Yeah, Ohio State's is like loaded with
Names, huh?
And they're not just alumni teams. Like there's just random teams that guys are, I guess.
Well,
friends.
I see that. So like, there's an Eberlein Drive team that has Archie Goodwin, Marquise Teague, and Marcus Lee, all from Kentucky.
Archie Goodwin was a first-round pick. He's already out of the NBA. He's not even on a bench somewhere.
Apparently.
So what tournament is this again?
The basketball tournament.
No, clever name.
Yeah.
It's TBT. It's on ESPN during the summers where there's nothing going on, and the winning team wins $1 million.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is this a 3-on-3 one too?
No, it's 5-on-5.
No, it's 5-on-5.
Right.
Yeah, others alumni teams from Ohio State, Dayton, Xavier, Buffalo, North Carolina State, Purdue, Tennessee, Miami, West Virginia, Marshall, Auburn, Wichita State, Arkansas. Plenty of other all-star like rosters made up of players from D3 schools to overseas. I think it means overseas hoopers.
Yeah.
It says overseason hoopers. Like, yeah, Chris Lofton and Wayne Chisholm are playing for Tennessee. Jared Sullinger for Ohio State. John Jenkins from Vanderbilt. Fletcher McGee from Wofford is in it. Doesn't say with who.
Sniper. I don't know who would be on South Carolina's team. They'd have to be in good shape, right?
Devin Downey.
That was the first one that came to my mind. You'd have Downey.
They just can't be playing in the NBA. They can be playing on a overseas
Surely
team.
Fletcher McGee's playing overseas somewhere, right?
I would think so.
I mean, I would think like Cat Barber's playing for NC State. I would assume he's still in it.
Well, there's plenty of South Carolina guys playing overseas right now.
Kotsar.
Yeah,
What else you got overseas?
Carrera's got to be playing overseas, right?
Rivera. Yeah.
I never really paid attention to this.
I think Dwayne noticed on the podcast now.
Oh yeah.
Thought so.
He was always a really good interview.
He was in my media law class over the summer.
Oh yeah. What kind of student was he?
Didn't talk much. It was a 3-week class that was very difficult, so he had the right idea because the 3-week version made it much easier. Dumbed it down for us a little bit.
Overseas Elite has won 4 of the titles.
I remember that too, man.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that, Patrick. I don't know. Let's see. It says TBT has a number of current and former NBA players participate.
Yeah, of the guys we named for Carolina, I don't know how well they would do against. There's some stacked teams. I mean, did you look at the roster for Overseas Elite? I'm assuming.
Uh-uh.
All right, the Overseas Elite roster is set. You got Jarrett Jack, Joe Johnson, Jordan Crawford, Justin Burrell. Huh. Jarrett Jack has to be 40 years old, right?
I was just he was leading Georgia Tech against, was it Syracuse when I was in college? Does that sound right?
He's
Yeah.
37.
Sounds right.
Joe Johnson. How old is ISO Joe?
I'll go 35.
39.
Wow.
Pooh Jeter. Does the basketball tournament start this next month or something?
Yeah, July 16th. Yeah, I'm looking. It's all right. They got like Ohio State, Carmen's crew has got Jared Sullinger on the sideline. Evan Turner is the general manager. And then it says David Lighty and Aaron Kraft are back. It says Aaron Kraft opted into one final run before he pursues a medical career.
Wow.
Hey, just pursuing it.
Yeah.
That could be medical sales, right?
Yeah, it just says a medical career.
Shocker. He won the French League's Best Defender Award.
Oh, I see this. The money team. Floyd Mayweather backed the team.
Who's on it?
It just says NBA veterans Amir Johnson and Jonathan Simmons.
Amir Johnson was a stud for the
I don't
Raptors.
understand this
For the
thing.
Raptors and Celtics. You're up.
Didn't need that kind of tone last night across the board, but since that was speaking about basketball specifically, that was a lot of our hour number one conversation about Trae Young and what the Hawks did last night. 48 points for Young in the Game 1 win in the Eastern Conference Finals for Atlanta in Milwaukee. And Trae Young is just fun to watch. I think that's why we ended up talking about him more than anything else last night, because you couldn't get much more dramatic than Vanderbilt coming back down 4-0 against Stanford at the College World Series. Stanford goes to its ace in the 7th inning, still up a couple of runs, and looked like the Pac-12 Pitcher of the Year was going to end up closing the door on Vandy's season, and it would have been the story of what could have been, or maybe what should have been, in the year of Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter. But Vandy scratched back in that thing with 2 outs in the 9th and nobody on, down a run. They battle back and get a relatively traditional run to tie it up, and then the ace for Stanford uncorks a wild pitch with a runner on third, and Vandy walks off with the win, stays alive, eliminates Stanford there. And NC State just saw its chances of going to the College World Series, National Championship Series, I think, dramatically decrease when Vandy won that game, because when Stanford puts in its ace, they're pushing all the chips in. You got to do what you got to do to stay in Omaha. But obviously, that next game, whoever would have won last night, the winner last night has to beat NC State twice. So it's going to be difficult no matter what. But when you go ahead and throw your ace in there on 3 days rest, I think it was, coming off 100-plus pitches, the odds of seeing him the rest of the College World Series very, very small, especially in the next two games. So NC State was sitting pretty, and then now maybe not so much. Will be interesting to see what Vandy does with his pitching staff and Rocker and Leiter coming back off maybe short rest or where that goes. That'll be in a couple of days from now, or actually I guess that's tomorrow, I think, when that game happens. And then tonight, another elimination game at the College World Series. It's Texas and Virginia. So I was centered around the College World Series game last night. And then when that got over, it just timed out. You could go to the NBA game, which was in the final minute or so, and Trae Young and the Hawks eliminate the Bucks, even though Milwaukee got a couple of good looks from three to at least tie. And then right after that, the way it timed out last night, you could go over to the NHL game in overtime and watch the Islanders get a steal and a goal. I mean, boom, boom, just like that in overtime for the win in Long Island at the Nassau Coliseum, where those fans went absolutely nuts and forced a Game 7 against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Bill, that's where you spent most of your attention last night, right?
That was a fun game. Tampa gets up 2-0 in that thing, and then New York battles back. And I think Tampa had scored 12 straight goals, 13 straight goals, something along those lines in the series. It was like the last two goals of Game 4, in which they lost 3-2, and then 8 goals. So it was 12 straight goals. They scored the last two in Game 4. 8 goals and an 8-0 rout in Game 5, and then scored the first 2 goals last night. So they scored 12 straight goals on the Islanders, and somehow the Islanders are able to tie it up in the third period, and then quickly in overtime, about a minute and 10 seconds in, get a steal and put the puck in the back of the net. And I like the young man who I can't pronounce any of their names. I think one guy last night had a goal. His name was Mayfield. I was so happy to be able to chant Mayfield with no problem whatsoever pronouncing it. But the young man who got the steal and scored last night, they're interviewing him in the post game, and of course he's having to kind of hide in the tunnel because the fans are celebrating by throwing full beer cans onto the ice, while, as you pointed out in hour number 1, if you saw it, the Islanders were still on the ice. Like the celebration took a turn there, and it appears Islander fans got confused. But the young man who scores the goal, they said, "Well, what do you remember about the goal?" He goes, "Honestly, it's so crazy here. I blacked out. I got the puck, and I saw a chance to score, and I shot it, and I blacked out after that. I really don't know what's happened." Like, that's a good environment to be in there.
Is his name.
Beauvillier.
Well done. I couldn't make that more quintessential hockey name up if I'd gotten a lab and constructed a bunch of letters. Beauvillier. Yeah, exactly. Classic, man. Classic in so many ways. As I was watching, like, the announcers were kind of stuck on this in the celebration. I think they were genuinely concerned for the welfare of the Islanders players and probably their own precarious situation of having to announce it as it's happening if something would have gone wrong. Like, oh, and now this can has smacked a guy right in the head and there's blood on the ice as the celebration continues. Fortunately, that didn't happen, at least as far as we know. And it was started this morning just being grateful for what we got last night, especially knowing where we were a year ago and not having an opportunity to get any of that with no College World Series and no NHL playoffs. Nothing like this in the NBA was pushed way back. And I think we were just getting ready to start maybe Major League Baseball around the 4th of July. I think it ended up getting pushed back from the original date or whatever it was. But having just so many gifts right in front of us last night as sports fans, especially from where we were a year ago, extra grateful for that. And then from the Gamecock perspective, we got into a couple of welcome home tweets that Shane Beamer put out yesterday, where one of them seems to be a complete mystery as to who it might be, and the announcement set to come, according to Will, who hit us up via text, and not until July 5th, I guess. And then another one, possibly a local Irmo prospect who will end up playing the hybrid safety / linebacker position. But obviously nothing official on that, but not even official word or public word from the actual prospects yesterday, which makes it a bit of a guessing game right now for Shane Beamer and company. But I know there were excited Gamecock fans when Beamer puts out the tweet again last night saying he loves it when at 10:20 at night he gets a phone call for somebody who wants to play for the Gamecocks, and he threw out another welcome home bill.
Yeah, so it'd be fun to kind of monitor that again. The second one you mentioned is, and how are we pronouncing his name here? Again, if somebody's familiar with, I feel better going to you for the pronunciation of a name than I do for myself.
Well, Patrick just gave us the pronunciation of the hockey player. You might as well give this one a shot as well. I would go Emmanuel, someone like that, but don't feel comfortable. I don't
Where
have
can
any
I
kind
see
of
the spelling of it?
You go to Big Spur,
places.
Gamecock Central, yeah, and type it in Nick Imanawari, I believe is maybe if the young man's listening this morning, he can call in and tell us how to say his last name. But if he might be up,
he might
now.
want to put it out on like social media first. That he's actually the
Yeah, that's true.
the
That's
guy
a good
that
point. So we
talking
don't.
about.
We're not
You
sure.
want to do it
Helen
on our
Granahan, a name I can pronounce, was the one reporting last night who it was. So we'll continue to monitor that. No official word from the recruit, who is all that matters. He is a young man who I think was expected. If he hasn't already been, he was expected to go work out at North Carolina this coming week. As a kid that a lot of people thought that if he went around to different camps, might continue to gain some offers. So we'll see what happens with him as South Carolina moves forward with their recruiting. The big another one more big official visit weekend this weekend coming up for South Carolina, headlined by Oscar Delp, the tight end out of Georgia, who a lot of people believe is basically down to South Carolina or Georgia, but has some strong ties to the Georgia program. Does have some ties to the South Carolina program as well. But a big weekend for the Gamecocks in terms of recruiting there with some official visits on campus. So we'll maybe talk a little bit more about that tomorrow and then see what happens over the weekend.
And Travis asked, could it be the Kansas transfer choosing between South Carolina and Tennessee this weekend? One of those texts or one of those tweets from yesterday for Shane Beamer, presumably, I guess. Bill, what's your thought there?
No, I was told I did ask somebody just about that, and I was told it's not, that he will have his own announcement this coming weekend in some social media capacity, sometime Saturday or Sunday.
Jay just hits us up on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, says, I saw my second pro no-hitter last night at Sager Park. Unfortunately, it was against the Fireflies. And he asks, what sporting rarity have you seen multiple times? It's a good question. I'm going to have to think about that one. But it was the Myrtle Beach Pelicans with the 5-0 win last night, and the Fireflies no-hit for the first time since 2017. It was a combined no-hitter for Myrtle Beach in that ball game. And a 5-0 loss for Columbia, well, where the Fireflies dropped to 22-18 on the season, by the way. Anything pop in on the top of you guys' head about the rarities that you might have seen twice in sports? That's pretty impressive that he's seen a couple of no-hitters.
I don't have something specifically that I feel like I've seen that would be a rarity. So I'll have to think about it for a second, just if there's anything that would even qualify for that group. But as you say that, no, there's nothing that I can think of specifically that stands out.
Anonymous texter hit us up this morning at 4:59 and just threw out the interesting thought, is there anything better than the snooze button? And that got some of you commenting during our break on the Cool Care Heating. 803-404-6100. Rooster P went with snoozers or losers. Just kidding. But I have been up since 3 a.m. And he says NC State's going to win it all at the College World Series. The pusher button was made famous by the cartoon show The Jetsons. Michael wanted to point out for some reason this morning. But another anonymous texter with the best one so far. He says button number 6 in his car. That's his car radio button for 107.5 The Game. Well done. We'll take all pandering and sucking up on the show. Again, if you would like to hit us up, be part of the show, you can call or text that same number, 404-6100. Just getting started here in hour number 2. It's the early game. It's 107.5 The Game.
Clear.
No, I don't think people are quite understanding the rarity comment. Or is a bench clearing brawl a rarity?
If it is, the point of the text the text was to say it twice.
Every road has its challenges. We say,
Oh, boy. Oh.
What were your Nats up to last night? Got you muted there. There you go.
They won 13-12. They're 9-1 of their last 10.
Right, I did see that. Well, they scored 11 of those 13 in two innings, I think.
They are scorching hot right now. Yeah, they were not like 9.5 back 2 weeks ago, and they're now 4 back. Hottest team in baseball, and they still don't have Strasburg, and they didn't have Scherzer for their. They had an 11-game homestand and went 8-3. Yeah, crushing it right now.
I was gonna read the Manfred thing with the Athletic, and I just didn't want to get into it last night. I saw the ticker saying that he thinks it's going good. The pitcher searches the first couple of days going well. Figured we thought enough about that yesterday.
Yeah.
I cannot see this kid's name anywhere.
Search Carmel High School prospect. Might have to put football in there to be able to do it.
I wonder if Big Spurs even added him to the commitment list.
Still nothing, Patrick?
I'm looking for Irma.
the legendary wrestler and promoter is spelling it out on his new podcast, My World. First things first, Conrad. You start with folks that are not going to count. Is that?
Let's see here. Gotta be kidding me. Let's see if I do this correctly, Patrick. Go to the live chat. Go to the and look in the private page. See if you can click on that link.
All right.
But I do think it's strange that I will say this, that Gamecock Central hasn't reported it and that the kid hadn't put anything out.
Yeah. Agreed. But who's even tweeted out that he was the kid? You said Hale? I looked on Hale's page. I didn't see anything.
He says if you go to Big Spur, he says there's a thread that he started. It says welcome home number 2 on Wednesday, and he's got his profile in there.
So,
And then a bunch of people are like, "Oh, great way to end." Like if it's a guess, he does nothing to like diffuse it being a guess. And then there's a bunch of people like, "Oh, big get, huge get. Can't wait to see this kid develop."
the usual. You're up.
A month from now, we'll be talking about the Olympics. July 23rd is when Alicia Gray and Team USA will start 3-on-3 basketball in the 2020 Tokyo Games that will be taking place in 2021. It's going to make my head hurt. But Alicia Gray tweeted out yesterday, the former Gamecocks, it's awesome when you and your best friend can go to the Olympics. So she and Asia Wilson will be playing in the more traditional version of basketball and the full team version. Therefore, Dawn Staley, who will be coaching it, so a tremendous Gamecock influence. It's not the first time that you've seen a Gamecock on Team USA for women's basketball. Shannon Johnson did it back in 1996, but now with 3 Gamecocks set to do it, an incredible feat for sure, and just kind of shows me, Bill, where this program has been and just kind of the natural result of being one of the best college basketball programs now for years and years, and having Dawn Staley at the helm. And I had forgotten that you're going to do 3-on-3 basketball. It's the first time that this has happened, I think. First year for 3-on-3 basketball. What do you think about that being an Olympic event?
I don't know what I'm not picking on 3-on-3 basketball, but like some of the Olympic events, I totally. Now you've got me looking it up just to see what exactly, because there's some stuff that they've included that I'm just
Pick on 3-on-3 basketball. 3-on-3 basketball. The Big 3 league is terrible.
So just sell out on that one.
I have zero interest in watching 3-on-3 basketball.
Yeah, I do.
Please
too.
back up the take. Why?
Well, I've tried to watch that. Like, I think it's like Ice Cube owns the 3-on-3 professional league, and it's all former NBA players. Like, we were just talking about the basketball tournament. Remember, Joe Johnson was one of the best players in the 3-on-3 league, and it's just so not entertaining.
All right, so let me just give you some of the sports that have been added for these are new that will be part of the Olympics next month. Just give me a yes or no, and then we can come back and debate.
Breakdancing, no.
Skateboarding.
Whoa, wait. Is that for real? Breakdancing?
Breakdancing is on the list. Yeah.
Bill, do you have that on your list? Just Patrick just making this up. Sounds like he's making it up. Bill's scanning right now.
I don't.
It's not an alphabetized list here.
There, I'm going through. I'm looking at
2024 Paris games. Sorry, it won't be in these ones.
Yeah.
Confirmed for the 2024 games, though. I'll just go preemptively. I'm out on breakdancing as a sport, as an Olympic.
Yeah. So you've got. I'm looking here. Just again the list of games. A total of 339 events in 33 sports. So just some of them off the top here. Again, the new ones. Karate, I guess, is being added. This is
sure.
New ones. Surfing will make its debut in the upcoming Tokyo Olympic. Yes, you're in on.
Yeah, well, why not? Surfing's cool. I'm very in on karate. That's a real skilled sport.
Sport climbing will be part of this year's Olympics. So it will be the men's and women's event that will.
I did hear the guy that did the free solo. You ever seen the free solo documentary? I think he does I think he's calling some of the events, some of the free climbing events.
Okay, interesting.
And then skateboarding again is the park skateboard event will be held on a bowl-shaped course where riders have to perform the tricks on different inclines.
I'm kind of cool with skateboarding. Didn't they take out wrestling though, or something? Or I don't. What got taken out? They had to drop some sports.
No, wrestling is still in. Wrestling is still in.
Why is the theory there? You can't expand the Olympics?
I guess you can expand the Olympics. I guess you could.
You're limited.
It's always changing now.
I'm just trying to let's see here. I mean, you've got.
Haven't we seen like trampoline before or something like that? Synchronized trampoline or something? I think that's been in before. Maybe they took that one out.
So they've got
baseball's in it.
Yeah, baseball's in it.
I don't know if the USA team has been released, but it's a pretty interesting group of guys. Yeah, and Japan is the heavy favorite to win that thing because they're taking it very seriously.
BMX freestyle cycling. I'm guessing is that motocross?
Anything X Games that's being introduced to the Olympics, I'm on board with.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the X Games is its own thing, so I guess it's kind of unnecessary, but it's still cool. If I turn on my TV and I see guys flipping their bikes 20 feet in the air, I'll be content watching that.
Tim, have you ever watched any X Games?
Not really. I mean, just enough to say, all right, there's nothing on. Let's see if I can get into this. I don't even understand the language that they're trying to explain about the tricks and the whole thing. So I clearly am unqualified to even watch this, much less be entertained.
I've only gone out of my way to turn on the X Games when I knew that Shaun White was going to be attempting his first ever triple McTwist or something like that. I don't remember what it was called. I think it was called the McTwist though. But apparently he was the biggest attraction by far. Shaun White was a superstar. So I would go out of my way to watch when I knew Shaun White was going to be performing or flipping. I don't know what you even call it. What do you call it when he would be dropping in? I don't know.
Competing.
Yeah,
I get. But that's kind of the crux of the issue here. Just the fact that they're breaking down regular team basketball 5-on-5 to 3-on-3 to me is the sign of, I don't know, expanding, evolving. I guess you could say evolving if you want to, but because of all the different access that we get to all the different sports these days, to me the Olympics doesn't quite have the cachet that it used to. I don't mean to disparage what Alicia Gray specifically is doing, and she was actually in our studios not too long ago, finishing up her degree at Carolina and doing some journalism stuff, and it was she was helping work on a story. It was something about USC basketball, and I was like, well, why don't you just interview her instead of having her actually do the story? She could actually be part of the story. And what Asia Wilson is doing now and has done, and Dawn Staley, clearly quite the accomplishment in women's basketball. I don't remember a team sport being kind of parsed like this in any other way. Like, I don't even know how you could do it. Like, would home run derby become an Olympic event in baseball? I feel like that's what the game is becoming in a lot of ways. Could you just
what about beach volleyball?
Beach volleyball has been kind of a subset of the
volleyball
for sure.
They're both in it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
I'm okay
a
with
good point.
I'm okay with beach volleyball.
I think nobody's not gonna be okay with beach volleyball.
But I think kind of where I do start to draw the line a little bit is like again, when you're like a home run derby or a dunk competition or whatever, we're just randomly adding to the Olympics. Yeah, I'm not sure about breakdancing, and I'm not sure I'm in on the skateboarding. I feel like, but again, I don't know. What is the definition? We'd have to go back and look. What is the definition of the Olympics? Like just sport? Like is it just whatever?
That is a deep question.
Philosophically or
international competition? I don't know. Someone just hit us up and mentioned that wrestling in its natural form was one of the original events. No way they strike that. Got me.
Like gladiator fighting, or did the Olympics go back that far? Or?
All right, here's what we're gonna do.
I'm gonna died in the Olympics on this back in the day, right?
I don't know. Let's not just throw that out there. How about that? I'll do a little research.
I've seen the movie Gladiator. That was the first Olympics.
Well, that was not. Patrick's just throwing out random stuff this morning. He's at that point of the show. We are going to kick off the second half of the show next with some Olympic actual facts.
Where's Trey? Trey on the live streams, our Olympic guru. I guess he's not up yet. He's an 8 o'clock hour guy.
He hit the snooze button.
Yeah.
Best button out there. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Clear. Bill, you see that message? You're gonna have a sleep number the next one.
Yeah, I'm sitting here messing with my emails because apparently I deleted my password for something. That's going to be a problem later on at some point. But I can still get in my email. If you've got a few minutes at the end of the show,
yeah, we can do it.
Cut that sleep number. If you can send it to Josh, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess I got to actually find the correct sleep number that I got to read. Yeah, okay. This one. All right, I got it.
T-Mobile is the leader in 5G. Experience it now.
Oh,
12 Pro with 5G on us.
Wow, these 4K videos make me feel like a professional movie director.
we joke about that sleep number, but I kind of was messing around the other night and put the like bumped up the
Data that can't slow down.
the firmness of the mattress, went to like 60 from 45. And I can tell I'm getting older because I like slept on my shoulder and it hurts just because mattress was too firm. So I had to move it back down to 45 last night. It's a rough life. Injured myself sleeping. Hope, how's the grandbaby doing? I see the pictures on Twitter. Looks like you're having a blast, living the life.
Have you been putting off life insurance for a while? With the wrong application process, medical exams, and blood tests, it's a wonder.
Have you and Tim compare notes on the Tim's? Was it Tim was the low one 15 months, 14 months, I guess. 14 months.
Instead of a medical exam, you only have to
Is that right?
questions. Our application is one.
Right at 15, yeah.
About 10 minutes. You might need it soon.
The beach is definitely the place for that dude. Just let him go.
Just turn him loose.
I'm top rated here.
And he's eating less sand these days, so that's good.
I would imagine that it takes 1 or 2 days for him to figure out that is not a delicacy that you enjoy at the beach, and that once he gets that one down, that you're okay.
Ecos Technologies operates in some Ecos Life Insurance. Not available in all states.
Columbia summer is just around the corner. I hope you'll prepare. Go Gunner for Triple A.
Wow, now we're getting history lessons on what was in the first Olympics.
Out of my house.
They had croquet in the second Olympics
Really?
and golf.
Wait, what?
Croquet, golf, sailing, and tennis.
In the second Olympics?
Yep.
Was golf even invented?
They will give you
They've been playing golf
take away your
for a long time, right? It was farmers, right? Although the Chinese also claim to have invented golf, I think.
Wait, what is defined as the now you got me wondering, when did the Olympics officially begin? Like, what is this?
1896.
Huh?
We know you wonder this. That's why we started looking it up, because you already asked what the definition of Olympics is. 1896 in Athens, Greece.
Well, their creation was inspired by the ancient Olympic Games held in Olympia, Greece from the 8th century BC to 4th century AD.
Oh, yeah.
The first modern games, yeah, there we go, modern games, was held, like I said, in Athens in 1896. Okay.
Spiridon Louis was a water carrier and won the first ever marathon.
That's pretty good. I like the last text we got in. Maybe we'll go kind of that route.
Dude, we are so great. We won the first Olympics only had 245 people. 200 of them were Greeks, but America still won the most events. How about that?
Dude, we are so great.
We're the
Dude,
best.
I didn't know if he was going to refer to the show or what. I didn't.
No, just America. You're up.
Historical perspective this morning. You think things are bad in 2021 as far as, if you go on social media, you're going to get this originally, right? I mean, you're going to get it immediately all over the place in multiple different ways, right? The world is falling apart because of blah, 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 blah. How about this? There was an emperor, pretty famous guy named Nero back in the day. Going back to the Olympics, this is how this came up. Alicia Gray, A'ja Wilson, both going to represent Team USA. Alicia Gray doing it in 3-on-3 basketball. A'ja Wilson, more traditional 5-5 coach by Don Staley. But in the ancient Olympics, in the year 67, it started how many years BC? How many centuries, Bill? You're just looking this up. Was it 8 centuries BC? Yeah. In the year 67, the Emperor Nero entered himself into the Olympic chariot race. And I'm reading this off history.com. Only to disgrace himself by declaring himself the winner even after he fell off his chariot during the event.
Of course,
He probably would have won if he didn't. He was probably in the lead.
it's true.
And then fell off and then said, "Oh, no. We actually ended right there." Yes.
Heard good things about Nero on the chariot.
Yeah. How about this? Think about the ambition of one baron in France when it had been 1,500 years since the last Olympics. This dude named Pierre Coubertin is how I'm going to pronounce his name. I have no idea if that's exactly how you pronounce it, but that's what I'm going to go with. Of course, young Pierre, a baron in France, goes over to Greece and checks out the ancient Olympic site in Olympia. And then, knowing there haven't been any games in 1,500 years, he says, "You know what I want to do? I want to get the Olympics going again." And somehow convinces the world that that's what's going to happen. In 1892, there was a meeting in Paris. He proposed the idea, the International Olympic Committee, that IOC, that tremendously upstanding and moral institution that we've seen for the last several decades. It came about in 1894, and then the modern Olympic Games started 2 years later, 1896 in Athens, Greece. And here we are in 2021, about to watch in a month or so the 2020 Tokyo Games. That's a little history lesson that I've looked up this morning after maybe the least informative and most speculative segment that we've ever had on the early game last segment a few minutes ago. So I hope that puts some of it together or in full form for you this morning. I hope that makes up for it a little bit. Somehow this has gotten to the point where some of you just suggesting your own Olympic events, which I have absolutely no problem. Chuck, I'm all on board. Pickleball and cornhole need to be Olympic sports. Pickleball for sure. Bill, you're probably more on the cornhole. You actually watch that sometimes on the ESPN?
Occasionally, I can get stuck on that for a few minutes, and then wonder what the guys who are just knocking it down 19 out of 19 times. I wonder what they're doing throughout the day. Like, does their job entail some kind of throwing a beanbag through a hole? Is that how they you can't practice that all day, right? You can't. I would imagine that I don't know who the conversation is more difficult with, the significant other or the parent. If you're a younger kid, like 15, like, "Yeah, Dad, I'm sorry, I'm dropping out of school to practice my cornhole game. I feel I've got a future here, so I'll be in the backyard. When I'm not in the basement, I'll be in the backyard just practicing the cornhole game." Or, after you've recently gotten married or something, you tell your significant other, "I realize we're making decent money now, but I can see a future on the cornhole professional league. And sweetie, while I know that we need money to feed ourselves, work early from now on, or not going, so I can be in the backyard practicing cornhole each and every day to get into the profession."
You mentioned the kid telling the parents, "Hey, I just want to be a professional cornholer." I was thinking about the parents that said, "Okay, you've eaten your dinner, now go outside and get your bag and start throwing."
I would imagine
You're going to be great, son.
I would imagine there is no dinner until you've made 20 out of 20.
Yeah. 20 in a row and you can go eat.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the issues being worked out there? I knew this could have been me. I just era, son.
Yeah.
You're lucky. You consider yourself fortunate. I mean, really, what I'm seeing is there's not much requirement for an Olympic event, right? Patrick, you mentioned breakdancing is going to be in the 2024. There's now surfing in the Olympics.
Oh.
Just regular basketball, 3-on-3 basketball. The first event, the only event in the first Olympic Games in 776 BC, I'm reading, was a 192-meter race. That was it. That was the first Olympics. That's how it became a thing, or it started. And then like Zeus is involved, and apparently that's at least one theory for why it was every 4 years and the whole deal, and why it was held in the time it was, because there was a Greek festival honoring Zeus, I guess, in August to September, and here we are, thousands of years later, about to get it going next month. It's crazy, the history of the Olympics, and reading this thing. And again, I'm going to history.com to get a bunch of this review or weigh it in. I like the anonymous texter. For years, I've been hoping they bring back tug of war. Billy says, holds a lazy man's horseshoes. Trey now adds that MMA needs to be put in, and that would probably that's probably going to happen, right? I mean, that seems to be a popular, more recent sport. I don't know why you would keep that out, and I wonder how this actually all goes down, right? How does the official, like, who got breakdancing in the Olympics? How did that become a thing?
I'm
Had
reading about it right
moderate
now.
success. There's all kinds of different ways you can go here, right? All kinds of. I mean, what about the biathlon and Winter Olympics? That seems to be the strangest one. Hey, we're going to do some cross country skiing, and then we're going to shoot a rifle at some targets. You guys in? It's two things. Let's call it the biathlon. What one thing, Bill, would you like to see added to the Olympics? Got a suggestion of a donut eating contest. I'm guessing you're not going to get on board with that.
No, give me a minute. I'm going through every sport that there is now in the Olympics here is I've come across here. Just like some of these, I mean, I don't know. Some of these, I guess I just equate to, this is exactly what the Olympics are, like the skeleton, which just seems like one of the most dangerous sports that's out there. Let me get on a sled during the winter, basically with little to no protection, and just go head first down a ramp full of ice as fast as I can.
It is for sure dangerous. Someone died in the last Winter Olympics in practice in skeleton. Yeah.
See, that's not good.
Almost positive about that. Yeah.
There is it just says trampoline.
Yeah.
Hey.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, so what do I need to? I don't know. You're gonna have to give me a few minutes here.
This is a great idea. I want the Olympics to add one average contestant per event so we can see the difference. Wouldn't that be great? You get a crowd contestant, Price is Right style. Just come on down. You get to go, and then you see the people who've trained for this thing. Then I would probably appreciate it more.
I think there is.
That's that old Jerry Seinfeld bit, right? You got the world champion in track, and then you have nobody ever heard it. Like just inches away, inches behind the world champion. Everyone extols all your virtues. You're a hero, and then you're hundreds of seconds behind, and you've now dedicated your life and volunteer.
Yeah, I think as I'm reading this now, like curling, again, I kind of want to meet the people who at some point in their life, like, I think I'm pretty good at this sport, and I'm going to dedicate the next 4 to 8 years of my life to getting into the Olympics for curling.
Oh, you're not going to meet them in South Carolina.
This is also part of that whole thing.
If there was a Jamaican bobsled team, there can be a South Carolina curling team.
That's true. Although I will say, Patrick, while the official sport of curling with the ice and the rock and everything that goes into it, I was pretty good back in the day at the shuffleboard table, not the court shuffleboard. I struggled with that one, but the shuffleboard table. I'm trying to think that there was a place over at Irmo we would always go to.
I had one in my basement.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Scott says bring back the tug of war. 1 man, 2 man, 5 man, and 10 man. I think they had it back in the 1920s. Well, we're gonna have to confirm that one, Scott. Jeff with the text of the day so far. We're just a few years away from youth travel cornhole.
It's true. Teams. Yeah.
It's not wrong.
Well done, Jeff.
How long before it becomes a club sport at the high school level? Because it is already a college club sport. Like they have I don't know when it takes place, but I know ESPN, when they're running low on inventory or things to show, one day they had Georgia versus Alabama on it might have been ESPNU or something, but I was like, oh, okay.
Yep, I have seen that spike ball as well. Spike ball's not in here. I guess probably the obvious one that's going to be added soon, the esports, right? We're going to get some video games going. That just caused Phil to have a physical reaction. I mean, why not? That's 21st century. Maybe we should go that way too. What one sport do you absolutely want to take out of the Olympics or not see? We're about a month away. Carlton, I'm into the track and field events. And he's certified.
Just sure.
That is the one time I will watch track and field. I'll give Carlton that. Is in the Olympics. 803-404-6100 if you would like to join an Olympic sport you want to see.
NASCAR in the Olympics.
You got cycling. Apparently there's been chariot racing.
Yeah.
Modern version of chariot racing.
Chariot racing would be incredible in 2020.
That really would at this point. Bring that back. I'm now all in on bringing that back.
The chariots we would make today. Oh my goodness.
Soapbox Derby. Anybody? It's the other game. It's 107.5.
Clear.
Probably driving to work right now, maybe a little grumpy, not real thrilled on a Thursday to be heading to your office, and you've heard this conversation, and now in your mind you're kicking around the idea of professional cornhole. Maybe this is the direction you're considering taking your life as you listen to us this morning. Let me tell you, the first key to being a great cornhole player, fantastic night of sleep. Everybody knows this, it's science. Okay, you got to get a great night of sleep. Probably need to get a sleep number bed. That's probably the first item on the checklist. Well, maybe right behind the boards and the bags, but maybe the second item. The second item is getting a sleep number bed to get that great night of sleep, to be rested, refreshed, ready to go out and train each and every day for your big cornhole profession. That's what you need, a sleep number bed. You can do that. Not only will it give you a great night of sleep, it actually improves emotional stability. It makes you happier when you get a great night of sleep. Certainly does for me. I put that sleep number setting on 45. Wake up rested, refreshed, ready to go. Maybe even go practice a little bit of cornhole. Today it'll be golf, but other days, cornhole. Right now, you can discover proven quality sleep, the lowest prices of the season sale. All Sleep Number 360 smart beds are on sale starting at $899, but only for a limited time. 2 stores to choose from. One in Irmo and Harbison Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings. The other in Columbia, 2 Notch Road across from Sand Hills Mall. You can visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. Again, right now, the lowest prices of the season sale going on at all Sleep Number stores. Also on the web, sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number 360 smart beds on sale starting at $899, but only for a limited time. You're going to start that cornhole profession. Make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep will truly be like.
Oh, fantastic text rolling in. Get the show.
Now we got Kerry right here, right?
That's right.
That was the reason I brought up NASCAR, to maybe jog the memory real quick.
Good call.
I played golf. I hadn't played golf in about 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, Chase. Yeah, no, that was in Pinehurst. 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, Chase and Barry. Yeah, we played Friday and Sunday together. We played those 2 rounds. Good dude. Hits it pretty far. Yep. Yeah, we were in Pinehurst a couple weeks ago. Yeah, he was out there. He and Barry. Chase was able to finish all 18 holes on Sunday. Barry had a bit too much fun. Patrick, you hear that? We got Kerry here. What was that? That was a
On mute.
We have Kerry Tharp right now.
Yeah. Can you throw a couple of those spots in the 8?
All right, I got carry on. I'll just move. All right, we're coming right back in right now. I just moved a bunch of stuff.
Great. Thanks, man.
I think we're picking 2 races, Tim. Is that what I saw?
Yep. Pocono Saturday and Sunday. Not Kevin.
All right, you're up.
NASCAR at the Olympics? Could it ever happen? Man, might as well ask an expert.
On with us in the Love Chevy phone lines right now. Darlington Raceway President Kerry Tharp. Kerry, what do you think? We ever going to see NASCAR in the Olympics?
I think that would be something that would take a lot of planning and organization for sure. And but hey, I'd offer up Darlington to be one of the sites if they want to. I'll let somebody a little smarter than me figure out the format and how all the logistics would work. But I don't know. That seems like a kind of a stretch there. But stranger things have happened, and who knows? I don't know if it'll be in my lifetime, but maybe sometime down the road you could see NASCAR competing in the Olympic Games.
What, in Nashville for the first time last weekend? What'd you think of that race? You picked Martin Truex Jr. to win. Unfortunately, that finished last in our NASCAR picks segment.
Oh, my picks have gone in the tank. What did I think about it? I thought it was great fan turnout. They had to delay the start of the race on Sunday because of the traffic. Fans wanting to get into the racetrack. I don't think they'd ever raced the Cup Series at Nashville, and I think it had been about 10 or 11 years since NASCAR itself had been to the Music City. So there's so many passionate fans in Nashville for NASCAR, and certainly it's just a great market for us to be in. I thought the racing was pretty good. It's on a little bit of a different racetrack. It's on about a 1.3 mile concrete surface, and of course the results weren't any different as we saw Kyle Larson win once again. And I just think that right now that man is on a tear. I don't know if I've ever seen a driver in that zone like he is right now. But, I thought Nashville put on a great show. And certainly I think the people in that community and the people around the country saw great racing and a great venue.
Busy weekend at Pocono this weekend, both a Saturday and Sunday race. We're making picks for both of them. Where are you going, Gary?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I got nowhere to go but up. But on Saturday, I'm going to go with Brad Keselowski to win. He's been a little quiet lately, but I think he's going to get one over there on Saturday. And then on Sunday, I'm going to go with Chase Elliott from the Hendrick camp. He got disqualified last weekend, so I think he's going to come out with a vengeance and pick up a win on Sunday. So I'll go with Brad K and Chase Elliott.
Okay, for Saturday, Jen's going to go Kevin Harvick, and then Sunday, Kyle Larson. Bill, what does that leave you with, sir?
I'll do Kyle Larson on Saturday. I think what Kerry said, he's just red hot right now. It's hard to not go with the favorite there. He is the huge favorite this coming weekend. And then I'm going to go back with my guy. Denny Hamlin. He didn't do well last week, finished 22nd, but I think he's due. He's a favorite here as well. So give me Larson on Saturday and give me Denny Hamlin on Sunday. Just for the record, I'm up 20 points on Kerry.
I was going to tell Kerry
I know you are.
The good
Don't
news.
remind me.
Good news, you're in second place, Kerry. Unfortunately, that's 20 points behind Bill right now.
A distant second, right?
Jen is in third place, 6 points behind you. She's catching you. She's on your tail,
I know
Kerry.
she is.
So fortunately,
I got to watch her.
yeah, hopefully Brad Keselowski and Chase Elliott will do well in Pocono this weekend. As always, DarlingtonRaceway.com, where you can find out all the information, what's going on at Kerry's track, at Kerry_Tharp, where you can find him on Twitter as well. Kerry, we appreciate the time and hoping that you will cut into this 20-point deficit this weekend.
Boy, I hope so too. You guys have a great day and a great weekend coming up.
He's former USC Sports Information Director, now Darlington Raceway President Kerry Tharp. We always appreciate his time joining us and his expertise. You guys putting in some expert additions to the show on the text line about potential Olympic events. We'll start with that in hour number 3 coming up next.
This is Terry Wilson. You're listening to the Home of the Gamecocks.
Sports 107.5 The Game WNKT, Westover, Columbia.
A child's body temperature.
Nice work, Mitch. Thanks for putting that in.
I like Les's suggestion on the live stream. That's a really good one.
Slap boxing?
What's it called?
I mean, we've played slap boxing, but it's kind of like that. It is a hilarious game.
Now, who is we, sir? Let's be clear on that.
Several people.
Not the three of us. We haven't
No, not the three of us.
gotten to that yet on the morning show. That's July content.
Just be out there in front of Gervais Street slapping each other.
Right?
Oh,
To schedule an appointment, online at CordellHotel.com.
it's windy this morning.
Suite 840, Columbia, South Carolina, 220.
Hi, this is Adam Vance with Sound and Images. For almost 40 years, Sound and Images has been your corporate multimedia resource for installations and live events. Sound and Images friendly and continuous audio visual communication.
All right, I got those fixed in. We're good there.
Upgrades to a wireless presentation and video conferencing system, digital signage, retail, large-scale commercial, and more. Sound and Images is dedicated to adding and supporting technology to your space. Let Sound and Images add a whole new level to your AV capability. Visit soundandimages.net. That's soundandimages.net.
So you good with those spots there in hour 3?
You need to call
Yeah, I just moved them to this 57.
How are they going to fit is my question. Oh, I guess we're good.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about having to hit
The 8 o'clock start.
the live, which we don't anymore.
And waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of the roofing system are judged in
All right, I'm going to go say hi to the kids real quick.
If you own or you're in charge of a
All right.
The best one I've seen so far is javelin catching.
Javelin catching.
That's fantastic.
results and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all the best they have to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them Midstate Plans.
Oh,
Let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
356-1919. Midstateroofing.com. It's the Love Chevrolet Countdown.
just
Football 72 days till kickoff. Bye-bye. Just
tired. Last weekend before July 4th. What a crazy, how fast it's going by. Maidenwood. You liked it, Craig? Had a good time on the boat? I hadn't been out on the boat. Well, I guess I went out last Friday night. I got the cover on it. It's bouncing pretty good out there right now, I think. I'm trying to keep the cover on my. I need to find somewhere coming up in December where I want to put it inside somewhere. I need a big indoor area to put it for like 3 months.
Why do you need it to be inside?
Just protect it. It'll protect it a little bit better. And I'm willing for 3 or 4 months, like the real bad months, even if it's January, February.
We winterize our boat in Maryland and leave it outside. We just winterize it, and
Yeah. I mean, that probably will end up being what I have to do, but yeah, same thing. It definitely will need to be winterized. No doubt about that. I bet it was a little rough with the current river. I just like if I kept it inside, I'd worry less about it. It's almost like I could forget about it and then go back and get it in March and bring it back and get it back in the water.
Oh boy, Craig, Captain. Can we call Craig Captain Craig from now on? Maiden voyage.
Oh, let's just see what we do. Real wow, my goodness. It'll be quite the adjustment, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Where's she playing? There we go.
gonna have to stretch it out today. Again, big golf match. Gotta be loose.
So what do you got? 50 minutes, an hour or so up there and back?
Yeah, I think it's like an hour and 15 to be honest. I get from my house. We're gonna meet a little ways up and head on up. I think tee time's at 1:38. They got the member guest this weekend. It's a good course to begin with, and they got the member guest, so it should be in really good shape.
Nice.
I did an update on my phone the other day, and it's like kind of messed with all my apps. And now I can't find them. Lovely. All right, let's see. Patriots. Point at. Maybe it's Grand Harbor. There we go. Grand Harbor Golf. And that's
Trey just randomly joining the show with that. We've been talking some Olympics so far, sir.
You've missed out. We were looking for you too.
Patrick was looking for you to actually bring content to the show as he was just spouting random stuff for the Olympics that may or may not be true.
It wouldn't be a bad time to get on the horn with Harry Cheston back.
He is our international correspondent. Good point.
Correspondent, yeah.
This is weird. It's got the Patriot. It's got this golf course listed both with and it's at the same place, but one has got a 96 address and one has got a Spartanburg address.
Big course.
Huge, yeah, clearly. Now I'm all kind of freaked out. No, it's right there in Lake Greenwood. I don't understand why it's got.
The lake with the border issues, I'm sure.
Maybe so. The Team USA hype train. Well, Patrick off air on the live stream has already talked about how great we were back in 1896 or.
Yeah, we were unbelievable. You're up.
True American music in the year 2021. Patrick, would you like to give an Olympic stat for the first modern games that will just inspire everyone, whether you're listening in your car on the way to work, maybe you're already at work, you're just by yourself at home, however you're listening, everybody likes a good USA chant to start a Thursday morning, don't you?
Well, yeah. Well, we are the greatest Olympic nation, and it's been that way since the first modern games in 1896. There were only 245 contestants represented from 14 countries, but over 200 of them were Greek. So, I mean, less than 30 of them were American. Yet America still came out with the most medals of any nation in the first games. I mean, come on.
That did give you some chill bumps.
Ridiculous.
Standing up and saluting today. I don't know what will. I think, what was your line? We are the greatest.
Yeah, that was unprompted too. We didn't even know what exactly he was talking about. We were coming back into from a break too, and I thought maybe he meant the show because we had generated some topics and people were interested and in a good mood. Maybe he was referring to the Nationals because they've been red hot lately.
Also the greatest.
Exactly.
Someone did text in and say you guys are also the greatest.
Thank you.
Yes, clearly the bribes have been working this morning. We got on our Olympic discussion because of the news yesterday. Alicia Gray going to join her good buddy, fellow Gamecock, Asia Wilson, in the Tokyo Games. I'm going to keep referring to them as the 2020 Tokyo Games because I guess that's what they're still going by. It does make my brain hurt to do that. But in about a month or so Alicia Gray is going to be on the 3-on-3 basketball team for Team USA. Had announced yesterday, and Asia Wilson already announced several days ago, and kind of a no-brainer, I think, to be on the more traditional 5-on-5 team coached by Dawn Staley, and quite the Gamecock influence. Those ladies joined Shannon Johnson, who did it back in 1996, the first Gamecock basketball representative for the women's Team USA. And the Olympics is, to me, it's a bit of an odd thing. I mean, obviously this year being the 2020 Olympics, but just because we've had so much more international influence on sports, and it's not just sports, right? The world has shrunk with the internet. We all know what's going on around the world much more than we ever have before in human history. And so to have the Olympics, a series of competitions that dates back to 776 BC, I believe I looked up this morning on history.com, and then picked up again in 1896 by, there was just some baron who went over to Olympia, Greece. He's like, hey, this is pretty cool. I want to try to get this going. And somehow we've had the Olympics. Well, a lot of us have known, Bill. I remember just barely the 84 Olympics as my first one. I was 6 years old. And I remember watching swimming for some reason in a particular room in the house I grew up in, and like how confused I was, I think, at the time, and kind of taken by it all. And Mary Lou Retton was the darling, I think, of Team USA and the world maybe at that point. And that's how I came to learn about the Olympics, or my first experience. What was your first experience with the Olympics?
I guess the first time I ever really got into it, I guess it was two times. One of them was kind of random, and I really don't remember what exactly it was. There was a buddy of mine that was a big hockey fan, and it wasn't when I don't even think I was alive when we beat Russia. But it might have been the Winter Olympics in like 90 or somewhere. I don't know. USA was playing really good, and I just remember watching it at that time with a buddy because he was big into hockey, but that was really young. I guess the one that I really remember would be 96 in Atlanta. That would be when I was roughly about 14 years old. So that's right in the area that you can really remember. And they had the gymnastics. We had the great gymnastics girls, and I think that was what little girl who had the injured ankle and did the triple. Yeah, the one triple somersault, and they stuck the landing, and then the guy carried her off. It was crazy, just wild. But I do remember that was a summer Olympic type deal that I did actually get kind of invested. I remember watching it. Tim, it was what, 25, 26 years ago now at this point. It wasn't like a Gamecock football game that I remember specifically, but yeah, that was probably the first time I got in, watched the Olympics and kind of really. It made a point at night. I think that's probably around 14, 15 years old, and they got into all that.
Patrick, are you more like me, getting into it at a young age, or more like? Okay, what do you get?
I don't know which one came first, but I mean, for sure, Michael Phelps. I think his first games were in Athens. I don't know what. I think that was 2004. But he's a Marylander, so everybody knew who Michael Phelps was, and obviously he became the greatest Olympian of all time. So definitely him, early young Michael Phelps. And then I remember having a Sports Illustrated for Kids magazine that had Apollo Ono on the cover. And I remember Apollo Ono, the speed skater, and I don't know what year that was, but it was around that time. So whichever winter or summer games, those are the two athletes that for whatever reason are the first ones that I remember as big time. Maybe Bodie Miller was still doing it way back then, but it might have been older for that, so I'm not sure.
Scott,
go ahead. Well, I was gonna say, David weighs in. Do you remember this, Tim? He says, "Remember the big Nike promo, Dan versus Dave?"
Absolutely.
And then I think both of them went out there and just were awful. Patrick, I think that was well before your time, right?
Who were they?
What are
last names?
The Decathletes.
Oh.
So See, I don't even remember the last names off the top of my head, but you can just put Dan versus Dave. I'm sure they'll pop right up. It was a kind of a pre-Olympics campaign gone wrong because it never really materialized. They went all in on this thing. The Nike did. What do you got? You put it in there, Patrick? You got Dan versus Dave? Got nothing. All right, I'll look it up.
So just
I think Dan was much better.
Yeah, just real quick while you're looking
Dave
that
Johnson and Dan O'Brien.
There you go. Yeah.
And it was
The favored Barcelona.
92 Olympics.
Barcelona.
Yeah, Barcelona. And it was a Reebok deal that was pumping this thing up. And it didn't really work out. I'll give you more details on that. I just wanted to get some names in from those of you weighing in on your first Olympics names. Scott says Dorothy Hamill, Mark Spitz, and Bruce Jenner back in the day. So he's got me by a decades. Ray goes with the 92 Dream Team. My first and greatest Olympic memory.
These guys were good. Dave Johnson won a bronze medal in Barcelona, despite hurting his foot. And I guess Dave didn't do well in Barcelona, but he won a gold in Atlanta in '96.
Yeah, but we're not saying they weren't good, but we're saying they're being hyped up as head-to-head for the gold medal, Dan versus Dave, and the best finish you get is a bronze. It's just, and especially knowing, Patrick, where we're coming from, right? We're the United States. We dominate the Olympics. This is what we do. And then to see those guys be hyped up for months, and this is back when I feel like this is the height of commercial campaigns for sporting goods companies or clothing lines like that. This is the Be Like Mike, the Gatorade, or the Air Jordan, the bow nose days, and it didn't work out. So.
Well, Michael Phelps didn't. He got a lot of attention leading up to his last Olympics, but he didn't get the endorsements like those two guys did. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember Michael Phelps being all over my television endorsing a bunch of stuff. Am I wrong on that? And then
I don't know about endorsements, but he was all over the television.
He was all over. He was going for all kinds of records and stuff, and he ended up living up to it. He lived up to it. Dan and Dave back in '92 did not, and it was not good. Just real quick,
two greatest swimmers of all time, both from Maryland, by the way.
Yep,
Spitz is as well.
Nah, I'm talking Katie Ledecky. They just added a further distance. I think it's like 5,000 meters or something like that. And it's going to be even more outrageous how much she beats everyone by.
Just as I'm reading this, just to let everybody know, the Olympics will start 4 weeks from tomorrow. I guess I didn't realize this. The opening ceremonies will be 7 a.m. our time. And NBC will be airing it live the morning opening ceremony for us. So we'll actually be able to sit here and watch it, I guess, as we're doing the show that day. It'll be the first time ever that it's aired. The morning edition is aired live on NBC, which threw me off for a second.
What day of the week?
It'll be on a Friday, the 23rd.
Sweet.
Friday morning.
July.
Let's go.
Well, a live broadcast of that, rebroadcasting, and really, you're not supposed to say much about the Olympics. They're very, very touchy about their copyright and the whole thing. Having come over from local news, I know the restrictions involved in that thing. But he hits us up this morning with the total all-time Olympic medal tally. And this goes to your point. I think he's adding to your point, Patrick, about the United States dominance. More than double any other country.
There we go. Is that gold medal. Summer and Winter Games? Is that what that means?
I'm not sure if he's going that. All-time Olympic Games medal tally is what I'm seeing. I just want to guess what country is number 2. Wait, that doesn't even make any sense. What country is number 2? Because it has it as, so maybe he just sent us a screenshot of gold medals and they went actual all medals. I'll look this up as well because it took me a second to realize the number 2 number is less than the number 3 number. But other countries that are involved at the top of the medal count. Bill, if you had one guess, what country would you go with?
At the top?
Behind the United States.
I don't know what exactly we want to call them. The USSR, the Soviet Union, Russia. I feel like, they're
especially for counting Winter Games.
Yeah, their athletes are physically enhanced to win these things, I believe.
As opposed to
we play by the rules here in America.
That's right.
That's what we do here. What about you, Patrick? What country?
Country? Very popular stuff. I would say I'll just go England. They're good at things.
Okay, England, Great Britain, technically if we're in there. The Summer Olympics medal tally, I see they are in fourth. We're going summer only. Bill, you got it right. It's listed as Russia, and what I'm looking at is number 2. Great Britain is number 4. What are you guys going to get? Bill, we'll go back to you. Who do you think's number 3? It would have taken me a while to get this one, by the way.
I got 4. It's got to be one of 4 in my mind. Has to be yours.
Wait,
Bill, where you going?
We're doing just gold, or you're doing medals?
Total medals.
Total medals. So we got America's 1. We got Russia's 2. Is this what I understand?
Yes.
England's 4.
England's 4. I mean,
Who was number 3?
I do Germany.
That is correct, sir. Is that one of your 4?
Yeah, I was gonna say Germany, Italy, France, or Spain. Because I just feel like there's a lot of people in all those countries, and they're good at stuff.
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
China
It just feels
is
like
actually number 5.
Oh, China! I totally forgot about
Ooh,
China.
I don't actually, yeah.
They got a billion people over there.
France and Italy 6 and 7. What I'm looking at now, Summer Games all time medal tally.
How do we forget about China? They have a billion people. Of course, they're going to be out there.
I don't know. I was looking on my smartphone with the chip that was made in China. I totally forgot.
I mean, what? I feel dumb.
We
They
have
weren't number 2, so.
We have gotten to the point as well earlier in the show mentioning that breakdancing is going to be added to the 2024 games.
We're going to win that one, right? Like, that's one that we put in just to add to our – I feel like that's what we do. Like, America just slips in these events. We're like, well, we're pretty sure we're going to win that one. Like,
I forget which texter, and it was excellent. My apologies for not giving you proper attribution there, but said the cast of a Breakin' Electric Boogaloo, or Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo actually was the reason why that was put in there. Steve suggests paintball in the Olympics. I'd like to see Olympic golf, Jeremy says, but set up as a skill shot accuracy competition. So kind of off of the 3-on-3 basketball deal, asking you some Olympic events you would like to see.
I found the strangest of all time, by the way.
The strangest Olympic sport.
Yeah.
Official Olympic sport is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is it still an Olympic sport?
No, it was between 1928 and 1948.
so it only made it for –
It's not a sport at all. It's a major, basically.
What are you talking?
Major?
No, I'm talking about like a college major, basically. You're never going to in a million years guess it. Town planning. It fell into the architectural design category of the arts portion of the Olympics between 1928 and 1948.
Wow. That is fantastic. And Trey has breaking news for us. Japan has a stud breakdancer.
Well, of course. But remember, breakdancing doesn't come in until 2024.
Right.
So that means the
Might be
stud
peaking too
breakdancer
early.
is only 15 or 16 right now. He's
Probably 12.
In 1900, they had a swimming obstacle course. How electric would that be?
depends. Was there electricity involved?
If there is, maybe a shark or two,
Wait.
then I'm in.
Do obstacle courses have electricity involved normally?
Not normally.
Where's
you
that
watch-
come from, Bill?
Well, what was
You said it was electric.
You said it was electric, but if you watch,
Oh.
what is the show? Where they've got to run, they've got to do all the. I used to watch all the time.
American Ninja Warrior?
that
Ultimate
too,
Tag.
that too. But then there's the other one that's actually funny where it's
Wipeout?
Wipeout.
Yeah.
Wipeout.
Wipeout's great.
That's what they should add to the Olympics right there is put a wipeout course in, and that's where you send the regular contestant. No training allowed. You just pick a couple of random people and send them over to whatever country for the wipeout course.
Anonymous texter suggests jousting on motorcycles.
Mm.
I mentioned the esports, just a matter of time. I think we're going to see that one. Eddie says bring board games to the Olympics. And he also has a question. He wonders how Ben Simmons is at cornhole. Javelin catching, just the two-word text in from an anonymous texter that has never contacted us before. I am very impressed, sir. Javelin catching.
Do you guys like ping pong in the Olympics?
I watched it a little bit.
I love watching it. That's what whoever suggested tetherball. I love that suggestion because the ping pong ball whipping back and forth. I would love to see the two best tetherball players in the world going at it. How quick and hard that ball will be going at back and forth, and somebody get hit in the face with it for sure. That'd be awesome.
Dane and Jacob, a minute apart earlier in the show. Dane says, "What about Texas Hold'em poker? It already dominates ESPN. Might as well make
Yeah.
sport." And then Jacob says, "Am I the only one who wants spades?" We're really going outside the box this morning.
Dominoes. We're gonna throw dominoes in there now.
Might as well. Matt wanted to make sure that we understood that it's a curling stone, not a rock. Bill, that's straight to you.
Important. Hangman would be pretty cool. You have to use a word that's in the dictionary.
Wow.
Get some real smart people out there that know every word.
Justin goes with spike ball. Brian says sandcastle building.
Mhm.
Sadler T, competitive eating. Surprised that one hasn't gotten in yet. Another Justin going with bocce ball. All kinds of great.
Cup stacking. I love cup stacking.
There you go. A suggestion in right now, beer pong, and from Scott. The first time we've seen that one. And yeah, those of you who are calling this ping pong are clearly uninitiated. We do not
Table
watch
tennis.
in the Olympics. Yes, how dare you?
Whatever.
A rock instead of a stone for curling.
I apologize. I'm now on my history of curling. Curling, this is from the History of Curling, the World Curling Federation, of course, website. Curling has been described as the roaring game, with the roar coming from the noise of a granite stone as it travels over the ice. The exact origins of the game, however, are unclear, but curling is widely believed to be one of the world's oldest team sports. I then had to look up, because I figured I was already down the rabbit hole, stone versus rock. Both rocks and stones consist of the same material. Rocks are made of smaller stones, and stones are made from rocks. Rocks can be described as a large piece of stone that is difficult to be carried in the hand. On the other hand, stone is just a small piece or pebble that can be carried in the hand. Thank you to differencebetween.net for breaking that down.
George, well done. Earliest Olympic memories: Carl Lewis, Edwin Moses in the '84 LA Games. He also threw Michael Johnson in there. But maybe it just means athletes. That was several years later, I believe. Olympic sport he'd like to see, other than cornhole, he says, is axe throwing, spike ball, and a shout out to Patrick.
Thank you. Hey, quick Price is Right game before we go to break. If you wanted to buy a nice brand new curling stone, how much would it cost you?
Ooh, great question.
A brand new curling stone. Now, are we talking official
Olympic
curling
grade?
federation
Yeah,
stone?
Olympic grade. Yeah.
How many pounds we talking on this sucker? I need shipping costs. I need to know all the details.
No shipping costs. Just
dimensions. How big is this thing?
It's not using.
You got it right in front of you, right? You got a product description. You got to have a price.
Yeah, I think Tim, everybody knows the exact dimensions, weight of a curling stone that's involved in the curling. If you're trying to buy a curling stone, especially an official one, I think you already know all these things. I'm going to go. The fact that you're asking,
44 pounds.
I'm going to go $325.
No way. Trey went $300. Patrick nodded his head, so apparently that's about it, right around there. I'll go 400.
450 for a brand new stone. Yeah.
It didn't go over. I was thinking about going $1.
322 pounds.
I'm going to go with
what?
We're bringing
322 pounds.
Yeah, English pounds.
Come on, we're not. That's the afternoon show. That's the international.
Well, I guess
Bill,
big in England, because that's
you
what
deserve
that's the currency that popped up initially when you Google curling stone price.
Bill did start talking about soccer today, so we kind of brought that upon ourselves.
Got a little
GoFundMe for a set of curling stones.
Great sporting night last night, and it all started with a phenomenal Portugal-France showdown yesterday in Euro Cup that apparently I felt the need to get involved in. You also had Germany and Hungary battling it out in Munich that I was flipping back and forth. That led to a pizza and then a very, very, very good sports night last night across the board.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit already this morning. We'll get back into the more traditional breakdown of what we saw last night. Drama at the College World Series with big-time Vandy comeback. Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks off to a great start in the Eastern Conference Finals. And the Islanders, their fans are nuts. They get one more game at least in that Game 7, but they closed out the Nassau Coliseum right last night. 803-404-6100 if you'd like to join. It's the early game here on 107.5 The Game.
Clear. All right, AAA.
Going to play a little golf today and come home, get ready for what I hope to be another great night of sports. But also when I come home after being in the heat today, I'm going to hope, or I'm going to know, more importantly, that my air conditioner is going to cool me off. I've already gotten the great folks at AAA Heating and Air to come out and inspect my unit. If you haven't done that, you need to do it today. 803-677-1500. It's still pretty nice right now, but we all know the summer heat is just around the corner. Hard to believe July 4th is now almost 2 weeks away. You better have that heating and air unit working when the month of July hits, August, September. You know how hot it's going to be. So don't wait around. Get AAA Heating and Air out there today. 803-677-1500. If there's an issue, if you need to have it replaced, don't fret. Don't worry. What AAA Heating and Air will do will offer you a $1,500 rebate to buy back your old unit, then work with you. 0% financing, zero money down potentially on a brand new unit. They want to make sure that you and your family are comfortable. Their customers are what they care about, and they will make sure that you are taken care of. 803-677-1500. All those great things I just mentioned also comes with a 15-year parts and labor warranty. A lot of great reasons to choose AAA Heating and Air. I believe in them because they've treated me like family. They've made sure that I'm comfortable, my kids are comfortable. They'll do the exact same for you. 803-677-1500. Give AAA Heating and Air a call today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Oh, Mark. Yeah, you tried hard. Just didn't quite make it. Ended up staying. I stayed up to the end of the hockey game last night. Thank you, Trey. Thank you. Got caught there at the end trying to get the close in, trying to figure out the closeout. But I got it. Got it handled. Got it handled. I think Patrick's doing a weather report or somebody for another station there. Probably not a good sign that I've only had one cup of coffee today. It is windy out there today. All right, one more show and then the weekend. Hopefully everybody has big plans for the weekend, something fun and exciting. We should have the wrap. I guess College World Series, the final series will start Monday, I guess. I don't think it'll start Sunday. You can't do it just yet, Trey. It's only Thursday. I can't take the medal here. I've got to get all the way through the week. Got to get through Friday. 9 a.m. tomorrow. I can't mess up. Got to be able to get all the way through. Strawberry picking. Okay, that sounds like a good weekend, I guess. Or something to do. What is the weather going to be like this weekend? Let's see here. Daily. Yeah. All right. Well, Saturday's 42% chance of rain, 40%. Scattered thunderstorms developing during the afternoon. So might have to get the daughter to do the tubing in the morning. She wants to go out on the tube on the boat. Have a good time. And then Sunday is isolated thunderstorms in the morning and partly cloudy late. I got to figure out. I think it's going to be a good grilling weekend. Kids want to do steak one night. Last night I had Tim or Patrick, are y'all pro pineapple on a pizza? I went with a chicken, bacon, pineapple, ham pizza last night. I was in one of those. Those are one of those things. You got to be in the mood. You can't just order that thing on a regular night. You got to kind of be feeling.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick it, but I would eat it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Again, I was in the mood for something different. So we didn't grill last night, but the kids want to do steak this weekend. Might get some chicken, maybe some burgers, maybe some fish. Yeah, it was good. I did go through. I went to Marco's here in Lexington. I know Brian Glenn is a tad busy and has got other things on his mind, but I really would like for him to open a Village Idiot out this way. He's yet to listen to my suggestion, however.
Yep, Hope almost beat you to it.
Yeah, I would be very happy if Brian would take me up on my offer to help him with none of the responsibility of running a restaurant or financially supporting him other than buying pizzas, but please open a Village Idiot out here in Lexington. We could use that. There was a lot of meat on it, but it was good. Chicken, bacon, and there was some ham and pineapple. Oh. We'll take it to the Red Bank side of town too. I've been trying to convince him. Little Village Idiot pizza on the lake. I could go for it. I don't understand. Maybe they do, and I don't know. Maybe there's some laws. I'm surprised that you don't have more like boats on the lake, like sandwich companies or somebody that that are just driving around and you could flag them down, or maybe you give them a phone call and they come and deliver sandwiches to you if you're on the lake.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's some kind of
talk to my brother-in-law about that. He's got a boat, the old DoorDash on the lake, right?
Yeah, like I kind of like. I mean, if you just had they've got boats now. You can have that little grill, or you could have somebody with a little grill who, centrally located and.
That's the next thing, right? Food trucks, food boat.
Yeah, I'm always surprised I don't see more of that.
Logistics are tough.
Yeah, maybe. I guess. Yeah. I would think you can make it work. I mean, I'm sure there's certain areas, but I know people go out to the little sandy beach area and also dock up in certain places.
Oh, there's a market there for sure.
We might, because I wouldn't mind going up. It's not too windy. I wouldn't mind going out Saturday morning. I wanted to go all the way up the lake to where my dad's at in Prosperity, up to Black's Bridge, and hit up Big Man's and get a burger. Get a Big Man's burger, but it looks like it's going to rain, so that might not be the best idea. Red Bank is growing pretty substantially. I'm having to go back and read. I was trying to keep up with the conversation between Alan and.
We're back.
Oh, the Traveler starts today. I didn't even look at the golf.
Yeah.
All over the place this morning, getting creative with the Olympic sports and then breaking down everything that happened last night as well. Vanderbilt down to its last out, down to run, down 4-0 in the game early on yesterday, or last night against Stanford. And then Stanford still up 4-2, I think, when they went to their bullpen and put in their ace, the Pac-12 pitcher of the year, in the 7th inning or so, coming off 3 days rest of more than 100-plus pitches, and still up 1 in the 9th inning, down to their last out, down to their last strike. Ends up clawing back in that thing, ties it up, and then just an inexplicable trying to throw a curveball on a hot and humid night, lost the grip of it, and threw it way over the catcher's head with a runner on third base, and Vandy escapes, stays alive at the College World Series. Stanford joins Arizona as the couple Pac-12 teams out in this thing. Tennessee as well, down to 5 teams left. The elimination game tonight is Texas and Virginia there with Mississippi State waiting on that winner. It's NC State who now gets Vanderbilt. Vandy will have to beat NC State twice if they are going to advance to the College World Series final series there. So dramatic in Omaha, and it timed out perfectly for me. That's where I spent most of my time last night. Then I flip over to the NBA game that's almost done and see Trae Young come up big, draw a couple of fouls, hits free throws late, and it was the Milwaukee Bucks that had a couple of clean looks from three, down three. Pat Connaughton, the former Notre Dame standout, was the first one who airballed it. Still hadn't figured that out, Bill. I mean, it was clearly an option in the play, if not the option, and just threw up an air ball on the wing. Wasn't highly contested. Don't quite understand it. And then Chris Middleton, don't understand how he could go 0 for 9 from 3 in the game, but the last one at the buzzer, a relatively good look to tie it and send it to overtime. But the Hawks survive on the road in game number 1, the Eastern Conference Finals. And then right after that, just in time, catch the end in overtime in the NHL playoffs, where the Islanders score in OT in game number 6 and force a game number 7 against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Just from a timing standpoint, Bill, sometimes we get really good nights like this where you have multiple good games, but rarely has it happened, at least in recent memory, where it's timed out perfectly like that, where you can go from one to the next to the next. It was fantastic from the sports standpoint.
Yeah, no, it was a great night last night. Again, just because of the endings, and maybe you didn't have I don't know how many of you out there listening had a preference in Vanderbilt Stanford. Maybe you just don't like Vanderbilt, and maybe the Vandy Whistler had gotten on your nerves because, as I mentioned earlier, I saw tweets mentioning he had somehow found one of the Whistlers had somehow found a microphone near a camera and managed to make his whistling heard. So maybe you didn't have a preference, or maybe you did in Stanford Vanderbilt, but that was obviously fun to watch. Again, Hawks, Bucks, I guess unless you're from Milwaukee or Atlanta or there's some personal connection there, I don't know how you randomly pick one of those to be the team you're pulling for. So it was fun to watch a game coming down the stretch there where I think has good personalities in it too. It's hard to, for me, and Patrick, you watch a lot of NBA, it's hard to dislike Giannis Antetokounmpo. He seems like a genuinely good guy. Chris Middleton, I was telling Austin, my son, about Chris Middleton last night. I remember
he was terrible.
Who?
Sure.
He was 0 for 9 from 3.
No, he was bad. But what I was going to say was I was telling him I was at PC team camp years ago when I was coaching at Lexington, and I'm just kind of sitting there watching, and I'm watching this 6'7" tall, lanky kid for Porter Gaud play basketball. I'd never heard of him before. He was, I think, a rising junior at the time. Play basketball. I was like, he's not a bad player. And turns out he went on to be a very good player at Texas A&M and has had a very solid, aside from last night, very solid NBA career. But I remember seeing him down there, and of course that led Austin to asking why he didn't go to South Carolina, and I explained his father was in the military and he bounced around. But I mean, again, good game. And then I was more heavily invested in hockey. I pretty much, that was what I was watching the entire time during commercial breaks or during the end of the first and second period, flipping over and catching the other games. But Islanders and Lightning, and now we get a game 7 in that tomorrow night. And you also got the Canadians and the Golden Knights tonight, as the Canadians look to close out that series and move on to the Stanley Cup. So you actually have, compared to most times, you've got some really good sports going on right now. And compared to last year, it's absolutely phenomenal.
But not everybody sees it that way, Bill. Mark hits us up on the live video stream on the YouTube Live. Says, man, Trae Young launched so many deep threes and bricked them all last night. Still scored 48. I thought he was about to blow it for them in the fourth. That is not how I saw that, man. I get it that he didn't shoot tremendously well from 3 last night, 4 for 13. He put up 34 total shots, but made half of them. Scored 48, had 11 assists and 7 rebounds. Not quite the breakdown I think that most of us saw last night from Trae Young, becoming the second youngest player ever to score 48 points in an NBA playoff game, just days behind Kobe Bryant, I think, as a 22-year-old in that one. Ben didn't have a great night last night either on the text line. Yeah, great night last night. Went to the Fireflies game where they were no hit, only to leave to a flat tie. I didn't go better for you. Myrtle Beach Pelicans, who no-hit the Fireflies last night. First time they were no-hit in 40 years. Tim from Sumter having a better morning. Playing along with our Olympics game says, can we get some Yahtzee in the Olympics? And I think we're missing the greatest Olympic game ever, rap battles. That's 10%. I mean, if town planning, Patrick, is legit and could have been done for how long did town planning last in the Olympics? You're telling me it lasted 20 years?
4 games, yeah.
That's
Summer. I actually couldn't tell you if it was a summer or a winter sport, though. I think you might as well just make it winter. You don't need to be outside to plan a city.
yeah, I would think, but maybe you have more optimism in your town planning if it's a warmer weather and it's a summertime as opposed to winter. You're like, oh man, let's keep this big. Perhaps.
Window washing would be far more exciting.
I mean, it just goes to show that nothing's off the board when it comes to proposed Olympic Games. And a bunch of you come up with some good ones. Sammy sends in the GIF of Napoleon Dynamite and just goes interpretive dance. I mean, basically that's what you got with rhythmic gymnastics, right?
Yeah.
That thing. Anonymous texter hits us up. Oh, actually, this is Jason who says risk. Kentucky thinks we should go with horseshoes. I think I've seen quarters in here as well. KO and Augusta. These are actually relatively legit suggestions. Wiffle ball and kickball.
I'd like to see kickball.
How about handball? You guys ever watched Olympic handball?
Handball's great. Yeah.
Awesome, right? Why isn't that? I remember played in PE. I loved that. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a fun game. Why isn't this a real game? It's basically lacrosse without sticks, isn't it, Patrick? Handball.
I guess. Yeah. I guess
I mean,
it's
think about it.
It's like basketball, but you throw a ball
without
through a
basket.
basket. Yeah.
Right? It's all similar stuff. So back to my College World Series little rant there. Are you guys in on teams of destiny at this point in postseasons? Because I was just talking to my kids out there real quickly during the break, and they saw the end of it, and they're like, wow, that was tremendous. And my wife's like, it reminded me of the Gamecocks back several years ago where it just seems like they were supposed to win. You guys in on that? Or have you seen too many teams get too close to that and then fall short and you're not buying it? Bill, what do you think? Vandy as a team of destiny now after coming back and winning that game. It was a game they should not have won last night. They were done.
I don't ever consider a team of destiny to be like a top national seed. Like North Carolina State having to go through, what was the regional that they came out of now that I'm forgetting, and then they go and
Arkansas
they
was
beat
the
the number
super
one.
region.
That was the super, yeah. So that to me, when you come out at the Atlanta Hawks right now, I don't know if Patrick, did we know the Suns were going to be this good this year?
Not necessarily because they weren't that good last year, but they were unbelievable in the bubble. So it was kind of foreshadowing what was to come. But nobody thought they'd be this good. I don't
Like out of the 4 teams there, so I would put North Carolina State as your team of destiny in.
If the Islanders or the Canadians win the Stanley Cup, that's a team of destiny.
That's it. Yeah, like the Lightning and the Knights are favored. Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, those are really good teams left in the College World Series that we thought would win the championship. I feel like the Clippers have been expected. The Bucks were at the top of the list. Maybe the Suns are on there, but the Hawks would be your team of destiny there in the NBA. So to answer your question, do I believe in it? Yeah, I just don't believe that it's Vanderbilt because they're supposed to be really good. I think they were spent some time at number 1 this past season. I can't remember the exact rankings week to week, but yeah, they being a number 1 seed, they're a number 4 national seed. That's just being really good, maybe not a team of destiny.
Fair enough. So I'm hearing, yes, you believe in team of destiny, but you have to have certain requirements. You got to be more of an underdog to be a team of destiny. I can get on board with that. To me,
the Jamaican bobsled team, of course, everybody knows, everyone was a team of destiny too. That was a team of destiny.
Well, I go the other way too, especially at the College World Series. You can't just be good. I mean, that's the last number 1 overall seed in college baseball going into the NCAA tournament to win the national championship was 1999. Proves that. You got to be more than good. You got to get breaks. You got to have tremendous moments. That's what that 22-game win streak in the NCAA tournament for the Gamecock baseball team, that's what makes it so incredible, extraordinary, and unbelievable, especially all these years later, now seeing it. And to watch a truly, an ultimately talented team like Vanderbilt just on the brink of elimination last night and then pulling it out, how they did, just the latest reminder of you got to have a little something extra on your side if you're going to end up winning a championship, especially a College World Series. Again, tonight, it's another elimination game with Mississippi State waiting on the winner of Texas and Virginia, 7 o'clock out in Omaha. Dramatic conclusion of the show. It was one of the greatest football players of all time in Gamecock football, hanging out with Gamecock football yesterday all over the place. That and a couple of welcome home tweets from Shane Beamer. In a dramatic conclusion of the show coming up next, it's the early game here on 175.
Clear.
Kicked those dudes off a little early, didn't it? Pumped up about this. It's ice cream these days that's really causing issues at my house because the 1+-year-old is really into the ice cream, and that causes messes. Fortunately, we've had some professional help at my house cleaning those things up, and if you need some help making your house look and feel its best, I recommend you get Zerorez carpet and air duct cleaning out to your house, where they're going to do a great job. They clean my carpets, an area rug for me, the tile in both the kitchen and the bathroom. Fantastic results. But it's how Zerorez gets the results differently than any other carpet cleaning company is why I recommend them to you. No harsh chemicals involved in their cleaning process. They have a patented powered water system. You can learn all about it at ZerorezColumbia.com. And also no leftover soapy residue. My carpets have stayed cleaner longer. Yours can as well. Right now, they've got a great deal for you. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned, only $119 plus a free hallway when you mention me, Tim Hill. Give them a call, 803-262-4020. Book your appointment today, ZerorezColumbia.com. That's Zerorez. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
I've been trying to scan during the breaks here this article on Arizona State that Pete Thamel put out at 2 a.m. this morning on the allegations against Arizona State football.
It's about the visits and stuff during the dead period.
Yeah, but it talks about Yahoo Sports is now obtained a lot of whatever they had.
Right.
And like there's a picture of like Herm Edwards and a recruit that they've narrowed down because the picture it's from behind Herm Edwards, and it shows him in a bucket hat that he always wears, but neither are directly facing the camera. And it says in the backdrop of the picture, an oversized weight room television is a women's basketball game between Notre Dame and Louisville tipping off February 7th at 2 p.m. at the Yum Center.
That's the big smoking gun they got?
Well, that's one of them. They have some emails between Jaden Daniels' mother allegedly helping book more than $1,100 in flights for recruits and adults that were accompanying them on a recruiting trip from Florida. 11 players, 11 recruits are named. 11 recruits are named in this thing, and it's saying that the NCAA could basically make those guys talk or take away eligibility.
No, it ain't looking good for Arizona State. That's what I'm hearing.
I didn't realize this. So you scan the article. It says, let me read you the exact part. Here it is. It says the stakes at a university whose 9 major NCAA violations in its history are more than any other school in the Power 5. Did you know that Arizona State leads the way of major NCAA violations?
Did not. I just remember their point shaving scandal is the only one that I could have even named. Basketball.
Yeah, I remember. The only reason I remember that is because there was like a made-for-television movie about it. Did you ever see that? Like
Yeah.
back, it was you probably were out in Texas because I remember it came on when I was in New York for Easter. Was up visiting a roommate. I remember watching it like the night before Easter or whatever. We were down in his little basement area, all hanging out. That was actually the South Carolina had just played Memphis, maybe in the NIT final, I believe.
05-ish.
Huh?
05-ish, I think is that time period.
I think earlier, 02 or 03.
No, because they won those NIT things after the 04 NCAA appearance.
Yeah.
He's not the first guy I would mention, but he's not far down the list of greatest wide receivers of all time. Johnson hanging out with Gamecock football yesterday. More the new character development coach, executive character player development is his title, I think, over at Gamecock football. Going to actually present him in his Hall of Fame enshrinement, and was obviously close to him during his Georgia Tech days. That's where more comes from, as well as Calvin Johnson, where he dominated and kind of burst on the scene before dominating in the NFL. Pretty cool that Shane Beamer can bring in a guy like him, and then you're seeing it on social media all over the place, talking to Gamecock football players. To me, Bill, this is another way that you can generate buzz in a program at this time, not only with your facilities, but also bringing in some big name guys like Calvin Johnson that can get not just current players' attention, but possibly recruits, or at least recruits' families. And this is one way to do it. Wouldn't you agree?
It is, and you know, you make a good point. It right now can't be all about recruiting. There's got to be some element of getting your players that will actually play for you and contribute this year some kind of motivation. And you feel like listening to players, and even there was a recruit recently, and I don't, recruits say things, and so I don't know how much I take into this, or what kind of stock you put into it, but Monroe Freeling, probably the top player in South Carolina in next year's class, 6'7", 290-pound offensive tackle out of Oceanside Collegiate down on the coast, visited South Carolina, I think 2 weeks ago. And the interview I saw done with him, I can't remember if it was on Gamecock Central or the Big Spur, but he talked about how different the vibe was and the feeling he got from the program from Will Muschamp to Shane Beamer. And so there's the recruiting aspect of it, but there's also an element that you're trying to kind of build back up your players themselves, the guys who actually need to win some football games this year to keep some momentum going.
And from that recruiting standpoint, a couple of welcome home tweets yesterday, but no one following up on that from the recruiting side of things, the player prospect coming out and putting their name on the commitment. One expected not to make it official or make it public until July 5th. The other one, you're thinking, according to the Big Spur, and it was Hale McGranahan saying it was a Irmo standout, a pass rush.
Correct. Yep. Nick Amori Watt. We'll have to find out how to say his name so we can do it properly tomorrow. But 6'3", 210-pound defensive back, and we'll see if that is indeed who it is.
So more momentum, more movement on the recruiting front for Gamecock football. Fun show today. Patrick, did you have any fun? Did you smile?
I love talking Olympics. We learned that USA is the best.
Nice history lesson. Thanks for listening to the early game here. Dan Patrick Show. Coming up next on 107.5 again.
Clear.
All right. So is Carolina losing to Memphis in the championship game?
Yeah, that's what it was. They beat Syracuse. Bill Morgan's right. I remember that. They lost, and then it was DeJuan Wagner and it was John Calipari. Yep, that's exactly what
So it was 5-6 where Carolina won the NIT. That what it was?
Correct. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'd forgotten about that loss. Anthony, thank you, sir. Hope, appreciate it. Thank you guys for helping us out, joining the show.
Go have a great day.
For sure. We'll do it again tomorrow.